What do you make of it, Buck, and in particular the performances of the New Zealand teams?
Oh, great first weekend for the New Zealand teams. I'm very happy for the Chiefs. They actually finished off. They started this year where they finished off last year, and I think they're going to get better and better. I felt a little bit sorry for Jimmy and his Highlanders, but I think there's going to be more to come there. I'm rapt for Sir JK, that he actually got his first win. Super 15, and I think there's going to be more of that down the line, and I think that the Hurricanes will get better as well.
Okay, well, I suppose the old saying is that no one wins this competition in week one. But if you're a team like the Chiefs setting out on your defence, or a team that didn't have a great year last year, or a new team, those first wins, that first win can be so important.
Well, the Blues didn't have a great year last year, so momentum, they've got some. You know, they're going into this game this weekend against the Crusaders with a game under their belt where they know they can compete at this level. Then you've got some great wins for the Brumbies. You've got the Sharks having a good win, and then the Bulls at home proving they're tough. But really, the Kings was the surprise packet, wasn't it? They picked their first win, their first game, albeit against the Force, but to get it done at home was a great result.
It didn't take long for the Wyden TMO powers to make their mark, and we're going to talk about that in a moment. But first, the rest of the fallout from the weekend. A heavy blow for the Highlanders after their season-opening loss to the Chiefs, with powerhouse number 8 Nasi Manu out for 2 months with a broken foot. Meanwhile, the Hurricanes are hopeful Conrad Smith will be fit for their match against the Reds this weekend. He suffered a head knock in the loss to the Blues, but has passed a psychometric test. After months in limbo, Adam Thompson has settled his future. The former All Black has signed a 2-year deal with the Cannon Eagles in Japan's top league. A boost for the Brumbies with former Wallaby star George Smith returning for the rest of the season. He'll start training next week and should be available against the Waratahs in a fortnight. England's taken another huge step towards a Six Nations Grand Slam with a hard-fought 23-13 win over France in London. Wales were too strong for Italy, while Scotland picked up their second win of the championship by grinding out a 12-8 win over Ireland. And tributes for 2 Centurions. Piriwipu played his 100th Super match, while veteran South African Jonathan Kaplan becomes the first man to referee 100 Super Rugby matches. Well, we did suggest on the show last week that it might take a while to get used to the extended TMO powers and that it was a potential can of worms. Certainly didn't detract from a really good weekend of rugby, but it was a big issue in 3 games. And the biggest call was probably the one in the Bulls-Stormers game because it had a huge effect on the result. The TMO had to decide whether this ball had glanced off the boot of France Malherbe, that's the man wearing 17, thus putting Chile boy Ralapella onside for the try. Buck, there was some debate as to whether or not the ball really had struck the boot and where the benefit of the doubt should have gone.
Well, that's right, and there's always benefit of the doubt because sometimes a referee can't see it touching the boot, nor can the fourth umpire, the referee upstairs. He can't see it either because it's just not clear enough. They're not close enough. So they've got to make a decision. And so they made the decision for the attacking team. Benefit of the doubt. So
you say benefit of the doubt to the attacking team. What about the defending team? There's no proof that a try's been scored?
Well, at that stage of the game it was 18-10, and that pretty much blew it out. That was the game over, really. The defence was holding so well for the Bulls. It's not definitive, though, is it? It's, and for me, I'm probably the other way, Buck. I'm the fact, if it's not definitive, how can you award a try, which is so important in that game? Whether or not it was obvious, it wasn't obvious for me. And if you can't see it, how can you adjudicate on it?
Then in Wellington, was Vinnie Munro drawing a long bow when he decided that Frank Halai swatting the ball over the dead ball line was worthy of not just a yellow card, but also a penalty try? Just listen to Glenn Jackson here.
OK, I'm going to have a look here, try or no try. Just be aware of the pushing out as well, please.
The white player has made the ball dead intentionally.
Yep.
Take him out of the equation. Therefore, yellow gold would have scored a try, so therefore a penalty try.
And a yellow card as well, OK?
Correct.
Thank you.
So it's a double whammy. Jeff, was it the right call?
I don't think so, for my mind. Bottom line, you can go shoulder to shoulder, there's a contest, but both players are running back towards their own goal line. The ball's only going to go in one direction. It's going to go backwards, isn't it? So, and at the point of contact, when he tried to hit the ball, I felt his palm was up. So normally you're hitting the ball down if you're going to try and knock it backwards or push it back. So for me, I thought it was a disappointing call. I thought it would have been quite easily. And then, of course, a yellow card, 14 men and a penalty try. Would Julian Sevilla, Buck, have scored a try there.
I actually don't think Julian Severe, where the ball was before Halai touched that ball, his hand would not have actually touched that ball at all. It would have been pushed forward as well. So there's no try. And that player, that Blues player, is there.
So they've used
Can't
the
take
old,
him out of the picture.
They've used the invisible man theory here. They're saying that the offending player, you remove him from the equation, he therefore is out of it, and it kind of becomes a one-on-none situation. But I just wonder whether, you know, that is not taking it just a step too far.
Well, don't get me wrong, it was a challenge, wasn't it? It was a difficult one, you know, second game in the season here in New Zealand, and Vinnie Munro had an easy one the night before, and then he sees this and he goes, well, I think to the letter of the law, he's probably done it right. You know, from what he saw on TV, he's seen the momentum of the ball, he's pushed it in dead in goal. OK, what do I have to do? Well, I have to remove him, hence... Obviously, in his mind, Julian Severe would have scored.
There was a physical challenge, shoulder to shoulder, and so as I believe that contact slowed the defender down and the attacker, and they both, you know, one hand got on it, moved the ball, and the other hand would never have got there.
Well, I can tell you that as far as the New Zealand Rugby Union is concerned, Vinnie Munro made 100% the right decision, and that has been, in fact, the referee's boss, that is, and also the Sanzar referees say he 100% made the correct decision, but they are going to discuss it with the IRB to see if they can get a ruling from them as well. But as far as Vinnie Munro's bosses are concerned, he made the right call. As always, we welcome your feedback. If you've got some thoughts on it, email us with your views. Of course, it's a reunion@skytv.co.nz. And you can give us your thoughts via Twitter as well. We're getting a lot of tweets coming through, and we'll give you the address there. There it is, @SkyRugbyReunion, and we might pop a few up during the show. Of course, you can always vote in our interactive poll. Last week, we asked you for your shout on who was going to win the New Zealand Conference. And it was fairly cut and dried too. Might have changed after the weekend, but it was closed on Friday. So the Highlanders with 40.1% easily topping it, perhaps persuaded by Jeff Wilson. The Chiefs second, Crusaders 16.9 and third.
Got a lot of fans down south, man. Got a lot of fans, a lot of people watch the show. Appreciate it.
OK, your shout this week. How do you rate the new TMO protocols after 2 weeks? If you think it's good, option 1 to 8855. If you thought it was good, just got a couple wrong, option 2. And if you think they need to give it a chance, it's option 3. You can text your option through, or you can use the green button on your Sky or My Sky remote. All votes by that way, or text cost 20 cents. But you can go to our Sky Sport website, skysport.co.nz, and you can vote that way. And as a little incentive to vote, we'll draw out one name to win an autographed copy of Buck Up, Wayne Shelford's Guide to Better Men's Health. It's autographed too. And Buck, of course, you wrote this after a couple of issues that you've had in recent years. Firstly, 7 or 8 years ago, you had a bit of a scrap with lymphoma. And then more recently, a weight issue. You've dropped 25 kgs. You're looking pretty fit.
Yeah, I think that after I had my lymphoma, you know, I started looking at a lot of things and ended up looking at my weight as well. I went on Jenny Craig and I lost all this weight because I had to start looking after myself. And then looking around the bookstores and looking for something to read about men's health, there wasn't a lot of information out there. So I got together with Grant Schofield, Dr. Grant Schofield, and we put this book together. It's easy to read and we put it in layman's terms so everyone could understand it. And it's about eating healthy good food, exercise, and trying to keep the weight down, because later on in life, when we get in our 40s, that's when we start spiralling out of control and we eat too much and we don't do much exercise, and that's when it all kicks in.
You've got all this to look forward to.
8 months away, I'm in trouble. But I'll start early, eh?
It's a fact. It's something we don't talk about enough in New Zealand, men's health. So good on you, Buck Up, and we're going to give away another copy of it later on in the show as well. Up next, plenty of rock and roll in the first full weekend of Super Rugby.
The IAAF Indoor Permit Series, exclusively on SuperSport. Powered by Engine, from start to finish.
He's got him. Kyle Abbott strikes, gets his first wicket.
Edged and caught. He's got it. Pfeiffer. Big shout, huge shout. That's him gone. Make that 7 on debut. Absolutely fantastic from Kyle Abbott. Listen to the crowd. They are loving this. Let's put everybody on side. Oh, what a start! Sergio Peterson, you little beauty!
Talibo picking out Niang here. Shook off Puyol impressively. And a chance for a second, and they've scored! Montari! What an upset here at the San Siro! Barcelona are 2-0 down!
Quick shift to traction control in water under time of 3 seconds. It's adrenaline pumping and going around a corner at 240, 250, that force that is trying to pull you off the bike with your knee scraping on the ground. You have to have some sort of fear in you. That's how racing works.
The 2013 SPK season in high definition, live and exclusive to Supersport, brought to you by Red Square.
Good attack from the Highlanders and a chance to level, but they've taken the tap quickly.
A hint of how this match would unfold came when the Highlanders eschewed an easy 3 to equalise.
An adventurous call from the skipper, Hardy. Now Smith, they've got numbers away to the right. Sapawanga. Oh, what a pickup. Beautiful pickup, and Smith is over, is he?
And with a touch like that, the scene was set for a thriller.
And here's a chance for Tim Nanai-Williams.
At 90 kgs, Tim Nanai-Williams might be on the light side for a centre, but if the plan is not so much to run over the top of the likes of Ma'anonu and Phil Burley, but to go through the gap between them and then at pace an All Black fullback, well, he's right for the job.
What a reply from the Chiefs!
The lead would change 6 times during the match, with the Highlanders trailing by 2 points at the break.
Now they bring it open. Sapawanga to Nonu. Smith now ranging up on the line and away to Gear. Jose Gear! Jose Gear! That is the class!
They led 17-16 just after, before the Chiefs grabbed it back.
Can they find the line? Kerr-Barlow, wide past to Cruden, quickly on! Oh, nicely done by Anscombe, and Patrick Osborne's in the right wing corner.
It was a game in which both teams were prepared to take every opportunity to attack.
Now Kerr-Barlow.
And to attack every opportunity.
Now maybe this could open up for the Highlanders. Ben Smith, Burley, Pookie, bend on Nanai-Williams, Kate Pookie! Brilliant!
Taking a tap for a penalty 60 metres out could be the sort of quick decision to send a coach into frothing frustration, but 7 solid bone-crunching phases later, it paid off, and the Chiefs regained a lead they wouldn't lose.
Now Tiko Rotuma, and the Chiefs strike back again with a chance to level it.
So Super Rugby 2013 in New Zealand opened in cork-popping celebratory style with 7 tries of champagne rugby.
And off he goes.
The last coming from an incredible period of continuous possession-swapping play.
And so Ben Smith now. Off he goes, Ben Smith.
The Highlanders looked set to enter the home straight for a home win against the defending champions.
Jose Gear, taken by the cover.
But the broken play finally shattered into shards, with Tim Nanai-Williams picking up the final piece.
Burley, through the hands of Hardy. There was a try on there. And now there could be one down the other end for the Chiefs. Nanai-Williams. Unbelievable.
A sweet start too for Gareth Anscombe, who must have had the blues when the Blues had had it with him. Looking more in charge as a Chief, he sealed the win, nailing 8 picks from 9, contributing 21 points of the 41-27 victory.
Yeah, terrific match played in front of a crowd of close to 20,000, boiling atmosphere there, and a heroic performance from Tim Nanai-Williams, who we're told had a bit of food poisoning or stomach bug, and he'd spent the morning parking the tiger, as they say. Wasn't very well, but man, a lot of people saying, well, who needs SBW when you've got TNW? The first try, taking advantage maybe of some defence from the Highlanders that was just a little bit not quite up to scratch.
Yeah, Phil Burley and Marnonu just didn't get their combination right. Phil pushed off a little bit early, but Nanai-Williams, his ability to beat Ben Smith here on the outside, if you come up, they push. The gap between the two guys with Burley and Nonu is just too wide there. Mar gets held on the inside, and then when he gets here, he squares Ben Smith up, and then a change of pace. Ben Smith actually said he thought he was going to take him on the inside. He pushed to the outside. This guy had a great game, no doubt about it.
Second try, and it was a key moment in the game, Buck, and it came after an astonishing period of play, which had gone for like 3 minutes, and we made it 282 metres in all, 5 changes of possession, about 21 passes, 14 rucks and 6 runs of 10 metres plus. That's for all the statisticians to chew over, but this was just a phenomenal stretch of rugby, and it might have been one of those situations that had the Highlanders been able to cash in, it could have been their game.
That's right. You know, if they could have finished off a couple of these movements where they broke out and scored, it might have changed the game, but it didn't, and it went the other way. And I think that is what people are going to rugby for, to see rugby like that, playing end to end, and, you know, lots of running, turnovers, the ball's going end to end, and it's just going to bring them back to the parks.
That's the danger in the stadium down there, though. It gets fast and loose a lot. And if the Highlanders aren't careful, you know, they actually were well and truly in control of that game, from my view. They're only down 1 point, and then that period of play pretty much ended their chances of getting back into the game for me. The momentum shifted. The Chiefs just kept rolling, kept doing what they needed to do. The Chiefs' defence as well was outstanding. OK, so Tim Nanai-Williams had a great game. Let's have a look at Brodie Retallick. This young man has gone from a new face to one of the most important players in New Zealand rugby, and he just got this amazing ability to shift bodies at the breakdown.
Well, he's a big man, and no doubt, you know, he's come through the system in New Zealand, and over the last couple of years, he's just grown in stature. His ability to actually rip the ball off guys, we just saw him right there. He gets around the track and just blows people out of the way. And when you start shifting people, you start moving that ball, everyone goes in, you turn the ball over as well. That's what it's all about.
Well, that was the strength of the Highlanders last year, wasn't it? Was their ability with their forward pack to get momentum going forward, to create some space. He has been a phenomenal player in the last 12 months, a deserved All Black. Looking forward to what he can do this year.
Sam Cane, of course, probably has the inside running to play number 7 in the absence of Richie McCaw against the French. Strong game from him?
I think he got into his work. Dave Rennie said after the game that the loose forwards were outstanding for the Chiefs. They did a job at the breakdown. If your loose forwards dominate the game, you get good, quick possession. Defensively, you're very strong. This guy's just going to get better and better.
It was a good effort from the Chiefs. What about the Highlanders? They had their chances to win. They've suffered a big blow with Nasi Manu, and now they've got a bye and a week off, which they won't enjoy. How quickly can they bounce back?
I think they've got 2 outstanding players on the bench at the moment. They'll be back soon, but with losing Nasi, they've got to bring somebody else in, and I actually think that they've got some great players down there. They just have to sometimes slow down and be a little bit more relaxed and just build rather than trying to score off every phase.
One guy who really is making waves in the last 2 or 3 years down there, and we're so glad he stayed in the country, is Ben Smith, playing at fullback. But you get the feeling this guy could be a threat pretty much in any of the outside positions on the field.
Well, there was some talk, and he played a little bit at centre for the All Blacks. The Highlanders aren't interested in that. This guy was at his very best the other night. His counter-attacking ability, he's got a massive motor. He's so very strong. That pick-up and try he scored, one of the best you'll see. And he got smashed by Retallick in a tackle. I mean, he's everywhere. He's got a great skill set. There's a reason he's an All Black. You see it every week from this guy. He is so consistent.
Yeah. Just a couple of areas that the Highlanders will need to brush up on, and the tackles, they fell off a few tackles, and their discipline too.
There's one thing for me. Last year they dominated the breakdown and they counter-rucked. Now, it will be interesting to see if that's been a change in tactic. They talked about the fact they were beaten up at the end of last season and they weren't going to do it as much. It didn't work for them on the weekend because they weren't able to get the ball back. They weren't able to stop the Chiefs getting some momentum going forward.
But still a really good start for the Chiefs. And, of course, they go back to Hamilton this week and they'll play the Cheetahs there too. So an opportunity for them to go 2 for 2 at the start of their title defence. Fair to say the Blues were not exactly burdened by expectation as they opened their season with a trip to Wellington. Perhaps a bit more expectation hanging over the Hurricanes after their resurgence last year. But it was John Kirwan's young Blues team that came out of this one with renewed hope for the season. A special moment for an All Black veteran, Piri Weepu, 79 for the Canes, hits the ton with the Blues. George Moala introduced himself to Conrad Smith as the powerful Blues backline gave Halai his first.
And first try of the game scored by Frank Halai.
The Blues were showing resolve, holding out the Canes on the line.
Here's Leua. Leua just a couple of metres short. Way for Conrad Smith, twisting and turning and into touch.
Before the big bus bundled over in the 25th.
Here's Shields. Now Vito. Vito to Smith and Salvia's in.
Captain Fantastic led from centre field, but the Blues' defence was proving unbreakable. While on attack, they were showing something missing from their game last year. Patience.
Roll 6!
They went 17 phases before releasing Charles Piutau in the corner.
As it goes wide, should score here, and they do through Charles Piutau. It was a patience game. They're back in front.
Then that big call from the TMO.
Now the kick and chase, and Salvia's flying. And they're going to check upstairs.
You are not allowed to deliberately knock it dead.
The white player has made the ball dead intentionally.
Yep.
Take it out of the equation. Therefore, yellow gold would have scored a try, so therefore a penalty try.
And a yellow card as well. Okay.
And a yellow card.
Release, Ruck!
The Blues forwards wound down the clock and ground down the Canes before Rennie Ranger battled Conrad Smith twice before edging his way over the line.
Quick ball required. And again it's Ranger! Try Gibbon.
The Canes captain failed a concussion test, and when George Moala intercepted a thrush pass, it was the beginning of the end for the Canes. They couldn't stop Halai racking up a double to seal a breakthrough win and a fitting tribute to the new Centurion.
Well done, the Blues. Sir John Kirwan, your debut as a coach, you've come away as a winner.
I guess coming back home where my whole Super sort of 15 career started is always a privilege and an honour, you know. Although I did leave the franchise, but I managed to come back and play my 100th here, where it all began for myself, and managed to share it with some great fans from down the region here and my family and friends.
Well, some real threats in this Blues backline outside Piri Weepu. Frank Halai, we've seen him in the Sevens team. Saili, he had a strong game. Piutau, Buck, threats all over the park here.
Well, you're going to say that, you know, this backline is so exciting, and it's just hopefully we can keep them together for the season and stay away from injuries, because they're really exciting and they've got the passion there. As Sir JK said, they got a lot of courage, and that's what they're playing with. And they played like that on Saturday, and they wanted that game. When they were down to 14 men, they really came out and they played and they defended like real mongrels. And I think that this team has got a lot of growing to do, but it's growing quickly. Yeah, well, for all that talent, you've still got to have players to get them around the park, to engineer the opportunities. Piri Weepu and a new combination with Chris Noakes. I mean, your thoughts on how they went?
Well, on Friday night it was Gareth Anscombe, and they're wondering, did we let the right person go? But in the end, this guy, Chris Noakes, came up to the Blues, and he led this team, and he made line breaks. He shows the ball, he's got great skills, he can kick. I mean, he did the little things that give your team confidence. And in the end, I mean, this year, I think he pushed the boundaries. He probably wasn't going for this. But in the end, it was that little wee break there, got them in an attacking position for them to score a try, which just gave them so much confidence. And this guy, he's got a very, very sure head on his shoulders. This guy, he'll make the right calls. He doesn't get flustered, which is a key. Yep.
Getting a lot of tweets from Blues fans, by the way, saying, who cares about the penalty try, we won the game. And we are at pains to point out that that didn't decide the game, and probably just as well too. John Kirwan, first match as head coach of the Blues, and a proud night for him.
Oh, emotional, really. I felt that, the boys really showed courage and commitment. Part of our catch cry this year is make our fans proud, and I think we really did that tonight. We've come away with the win. We still need to work hard, feet on the ground, But, you know, the courage they showed was unbelievable when Frank got sent off, which was a really interesting decision. Obviously, when you're in my coaching books, it was, you know, we weren't too happy. We need to be proud of the boys tonight and tomorrow, and we need to get up and work. We've got the Crusaders next Friday night. So, you know, that's important. I'm really proud of them, though, and I'm hoping that, you know, our fans are really proud of what they saw, courage and commitment.
Well, John Kirwan obviously taking over as head coach. Everyone's talking a little bit about the influence of Graham Henry in the background, but I think he's been keeping a low profile. He's prepared to let John Kirwan be seen as the leader of this coaching staff. I mean, you've played with the guy. What does he bring, do you think?
I think he brings a lot. He's a really enthusiastic guy, and he's actually, you know, you can actually get attached to that. And I think he's actually really trying to build up their motivation and trying to get them to build into this one squad. And it's all about this tribal. He talks about the tribe all the time. We are a tribe in Auckland. Let's be tribal. Let's protect our turf and let's go out and fight the fight somewhere else and win and come home again. Be a bit like Ngāpu or Te Arawa, you know, the old Maori fights. But notwithstanding that, I'm happy for John. He's got his first win, and he's said in the last 6 months it's going to be a roller coaster ride. Well, he's at the top of that hill at the moment. Yeah. But he's going to lose a few games on the way. But, you know, those boys will grow in the next 5 months, that's for sure.
We've been talking for a year or so now about a potential replacement for Jerome Kaino. Of course, Liam Messam did a really good job last year in the number 6 jersey for the All Blacks, but if you're looking for another big, strong guy, there are a couple of contenders in this game. Stephen Luatua was one who looks like he's making good progress in the clash against Victor Vito, worth watching.
It was. I thought Luatua was outstanding on Saturday. He was my player of the day. But then, you know, you look through the footage again, and Victor had a very strong game as well. He carried the ball well. And I think, you know, Victor's there in the All Blacks at the moment, but if Luatua keeps growing his game and playing like that, he won't be far away from the All Black jersey either.
Well, a couple of fierce rivalries stood out in the other two conferences. In Pretoria, the Bulls flexed their muscles in a tight, uncompromising clash with the Stormers.
The first 50 minutes at Loftus were tight, uncompromising, and all about penalties. The Bulls kicked theirs. The Stormers didn't. But it was the Cape Townians who opened the game up with the first try of the South African Conference.
Just short, couldn't stretch his arms out. De Villiers was there.
With just 2 points in it, the game in the balance, the new TMO powers were called into question.
Has he got up to the ball, Chili Boy?
Well, I'm not sure how the polite way of putting this is, but I'm not sure that's the right decision.
That gave the Bulls a winning advantage, and while the Stormers got one back,
Becker burst his way through.
It was too late. Loftus, still a fortress to be reckoned with.
Well, we just reminiscing over last week's picks.
You picked the Bulls, no doubt about it. I mean, that's a great result for them to take on the Stormers, who won their conference last year. A very, very good defensive side, but once again, the Stormers weren't able to attack. They weren't able to generate points, and you miss kicks at Loftus, you're going to lose, because they've got a guy in Morné Steyn who's going to kick his. They take advantage of every opportunity they get to score points.
We'll take a look at Morné Steyn in a moment, but the forward battle and the thing you've got to worry about with this Bulls team, such big, strong guys. They certainly got an edge in the set piece. They made a mess of the Stormers line, and when they get the ball going forward like this, look out, because they're so hard to stop.
Historically, the Bulls have always been forward dominated. They dominate games by up front. They're brash, they're physical, and they're out there to smash teams into submission, really, and then they'll kick the penalties. They do score their tries, but only sometimes they score tries. Normally they win by kicking. But their forward pack, outstanding.
Well, they've been criticised a bit for playing 10-man rugby, and the man at the centre of it all has been Morné Steyn, who did not have a great year last year, but he looked very good. This is the start of his last season. Goal kicking was good, but his tactical kicking, field kicking, was phenomenal.
What the Stormers do, though, they play a very flat defence, so that created some spaces for him to kick to. And he has got great touch on his kicking. He can find space. And there, the ground's hard. He'll roll the ball, and he turns you around, makes him go back. And they just got out-kicked. It came down to territory. They were playing in the right part of the field. They put pressure on, penalties, 3 points.
Yeah, so a very good start for the Bulls. While in Australia, the Reds-Waratahs clash rarely lives up to the pre-match talk, but it's always worth a watch. All eyes were on Israel Folau, but the Reds were not going to let him take centre stage on their own patch.
One of the grudge matches of the Super Rugby calendar, the Reds-Tars match was always going to be a tough introduction for Israel Folau. Well, Chris Pollock celebrated the occasion by wearing his Bluetooth. The Reds struck first, quick hands by Rob Simmons, allowing Quade Cooper to put Dom Shipley in the corner.
Simmons, here's the backs coming into it. Shipley crashing for the line, and he got it down, I think.
Oh, what a run from Shipley.
Waratahs hot on attack. Sekope Kepu makes a bad decision. Pops it to Tapawai, and he has the speed to go all the way.
He's going to have too much pace. Runaway try for the Queensland Reds. 2 tries, a couple of minutes. The vice-captain in 2013, Ben Tapawai.
17-3 down at the break. The Tars needed a bit of luck, and they got it. A fortuitous ricochet for Folau to open his Super Rugby try tally.
Should be a try. Israel Folau for the Waratahs.
Then a great ball from Bernard Foley to put the promising Vola away down the flank. Too much speed for the covering defence, and the Tars' hopes were raised.
He's over. And the Waratahs are well and truly back into it.
But then the final nail in the coffin, 73rd minute, Eddie Quirk makes a strong run to set up Tapawai for his second of the match and the seal.
Quirk not held, pops it up, try time. Ben Tapawai.
So the Reds get the win. Tough way to start for the Waratahs. Remember, they sat out week 1 with the bye, which might be a bit of a cautionary tale for the Crusaders, who go to Eden Park for their first match this weekend. But so much attention on Israel Folau, a lot of hype. Remember, the guy's been playing for the last 2 years in a game where you don't have to tackle. How do you think he went? And does he deserve the criticism that he's copping right now across the Tasman?
Unfair expectations for the guy. Yep, he's had, 3 pre-season games, 2.5. I mean, he's going to take a while to settle in, and this is the Reds at home. So it's a difficult game for him to come into. He was caught out of position a couple of times. That's going to happen to him. But in the end, what he's going to bring as he improves over the season, he's going to be a positive for the Warriors. Don't forget, there was 14 other guys out there. It's their responsibility to do their jobs first.
What about the loose forward contest? Because this was crucial to the game. 2 very good young flankers, Liam Gill for the Reds and Michael Hooper, who's moved to the Waratahs. Gill seemed to get a points decision here.
I think young Gill played pretty well, and I think, if anything else, the Waratahs probably underestimated the ability of the Queensland forward pack, and it was a pretty big effort there by the Queensland boys, because they were physically, fighting. But Gill's an up-and-coming young boy, and I think that he's got a big future in the game.
There was another rather fascinating TMO decision in this game too, which we're going to take a look at. And this was one where we think that Chris Pollock made the right call to go upstairs, because there had been a forward pass in the lead up to the try. But what actually happened was that they didn't go far enough back. You're allowed to go back 2 phases, and they only went back 1. So they missed that there. There's the ruck. And so when they went upstairs to the TMO, this is all they were shown. I think if they'd gone back the full distance, this try would have been ruled out. But again, as it was the case in the game in Wellington, it didn't affect the outcome of the game. There's the forward pass there, remember? They're allowed to go back 2 phases, and they didn't. Don't forget to give us your shout in our interactive poll. And that, of course, is about the TMO. In a moment, we're going to find out a bit more about what makes Charles Piutau tick. We're going to take in the Kings' great start to Super Rugby. We'll have our archive quiz, and, of course, we will guide you blindly through another week of virtual rugby with our predictions. But first, drug-free, untainted by corruption, some questions.
Question: you think we might not see quite so many passes to the assistant refs this season? At least in the New Zealand games.
And Gareth Anscombe, who's moved down State Highway 1 to play fullback.
On Friday night, were Blues fans thinking, we've done it again? And 24 hours later, could they remember thinking that? Don't you hate it when this happens? You reckon Digby needed a second invitation to welcome the new boy to Super Rugby? Did Ref Cam bring out the polite, new age side of Super Rugby?
Yeah, and the second goes the issue. Well, thanks for letting me know about it. Yeah, thank you.
Is this what 14 years refereeing at the top will do to you? You think they've had a few problems with grass scrub and Bloom? You've got a face full of dirt, another man's arm between your legs, a beast on top of you, and you come back for more. Props are special, aren't they? And you get the feeling we're going to enjoy having Fumiaki Tanaka around.
とても興奮して、すごいいいグラウンドで行ったことに感動しています。
Harder than J League?
J League is soccer.
Top league?
Top league, yeah. Very hard.
Nice to see you here.
Thank you very much.
There are 15,001 parts in Lotus F1 car. To win, each part has to be in peak condition, including me and my scalp. That's why I need Clear's dandruff protection.
Clear Men, engineered to protect your scalp for zero dandruff, even in extreme race conditions.
Never have a chance.
It's almost that time of year.
The time to make dreams come true.
Brand new season with 3 brand new celebrity judges.
This is
American Idol. Every Saturday at 6 and on Sundays, see your EPG for details. Exclusive to Mnet. ATP Tour. Rip it up. Only on Supersport. Proudly brought to you by Prudential.
Should score here, and they dig through Charles Piutau. And Charles Piutau scores the blue second try. They're back in front.
I think a lot of people think that last year was my first year in ITM, but it was actually my third. And so I think the first 2 years kind of built me for that third year. It was amazing. I think, if anything, I just enjoyed coming in to train. I was getting good feedback from my coaches and I guess just trying to play my part for the team. I kind of grew up playing in the counties, but I always did support the Blues, and watching guys like Carlos Spencer and Jaro Kathoko and Rupini, yeah, they were always my favourite team and the team I wanted to play for. It almost feels like it's a new era. We've done a lot of hard work with the calibre of coaches that we have, youthfulness of the team. You know, there's a lot of young guys, kind of a point of difference into this competition.
Piutau, he's such a dangerous man on his feet.
We're quite like the underdog. Yeah, it should be an exciting year.
Here goes Piutau, and Charles Piutau drives a knife into Otago.
It was always in my head that I was going to be a rugby player. I don't know, I think some people would have thought I was crazy, or some people would have thought that I wouldn't make it, but that was my dream, and so yeah, I'm just glad to be here today and kind of living that out.
He's already had his talents recognised at age group level. He's played for the New Zealand Sevens team, as he said himself. He's got 2 or 3 years of first-class rugby under his belt. Do you think he's ready to make a step up?
Well, he's well and truly ready for this level. You've got to prove yourself at super level, and there's a lot of very good players above him right now. If you start talking about Ben Smith, Israel Dag, hey, look, there's some great players out there, Julian Sevilla. But he's got all the necessary skills to be an All Black, there's no doubt about it. He's a special talent. We're going to enjoy watching him play, and he's fearless. He's got great confidence, he believes in his ability, and he loves to run with ball in hand. Hey, look, this is an excitement machine with some serious weapons around him.
Yeah, definitely one to watch, but likely to face a sterner challenge this week when he has to deal with Dan Carter's probing boot. The Crusaders going to Eden Park Friday night, which should be a cracker. OK, to the best of the rest from the weekend. The Kings, not just on the board, it's straight to the top of the South African Conference. Alongside them, the Sharks winning the Battle of the Brawn against the Cheetahs, and the Brumbies in Australia going 2 for 2.
Well, here's a chance for the Brumbies now. As Smith gives it to Rathbone, he fires it out to Mogg. Mogg on O'Connor. The kick through from Mogg. The chase is on. Jesse Mogg! Did he get there? I think he did. Oh, my goodness. What about the speed of the man? What a turnaround. Plenty of hang time. It's gone backwards off O'Connor. He picks it up and has a second crack. James O'Connor. O'Connor needs support and he finds it. Oh, what a try. Higginbotham. What a moment for the former Red. But they put it through the hands, and going forward now is Mogg. Jesse Mogg. Oh, what a run. 5 metres out. Kimlin. Tamua. Here's Tamua, goes high, kicking across now for Robbie Coleman. Okabaro calling, picked up by Ben Mowen, up over the 22. The captain stretches out and he scores in the corner. They need a quick hands. Coleman on Beale with one arm and he's over. Oh, finally. And the Brumbies have beaten the Rebels by 30 points to 13.
The Maul making some progress. Sharks defence disintegrating. Here he could see as the TMO. And a Volvo straight through the middle. It was a messy line-out, but nothing messy about the finish. Cheetahs desperately defending this Maul, but a second shove on from the Sharks. They conceded a Maul try in the first half, looking to get their own back here. Flicked out of the back of the hand. And over goes Labuschagne. Sardi has broken the line. Raymond Rule to his left. Will he need it? No! What a finish. And now Reinach. Yeah, I got it. Bjorn Herbst. Cheetahs not committing at the ruck, fanning out on defence. Full time in Bloemfontein. Cheetahs 22, Sharks 29.
Listen to the crowd. They are loving this. Let's put everybody on side. Oh, what a start! Sergio Peterson! You little beauty! Sustained pressure, and it's Angus Cottrell who gets it to the 5 again. In fact, that's the try line. They're over the line. Here's Christie. Good flat ball for Stanley, and this is Murphy in the corner, and the Force are ahead. SP Murray doing good work there. They're trying to work some space out wide. Lee Cook sends it through the hands. Sergio Peterson, second try for the schoolboy. What a moment!
Fantastic result, but it's not good news for the Force, and the key number in the Australian Conference. Remember, they're the only ones that have played 2 weeks. And the Brumbies have won 2 games from 2. The Force have lost 2 games from 2, so they are already under pressure. Brumbies, good boost for them with George Smith coming back from Japan. So that's going to give them a very good loose forward trio with Pocock there, isn't it?
David Pocock going there, and then getting George Smith to either back up or maybe play at 6 maybe, who knows what they've got, but more experience coming into a team which is well coached, which is strong in a lot of good areas, and I'm really enjoying Jesse Mogg. He's come with his first 2 weeks, he's been fantastic from the back, creating a lot of things for them which they didn't have last year.
Just while we're talking about signings and people going here, we are hearing rumours here at Reunion that Montpellier have made perhaps an offer that Rennie Ranger can't refuse. So just watch that space. Could Rennie Ranger be off to France at the end of Super Rugby? We know they were chasing Jason Eaton last year, the team in the south of France, so just watch that one. Pings, what a fantastic entry for them. I mean, they'll play tougher teams than the Force for sure, but a team that a lot of people in South Africa are questioning their right to be there. Well, boy, they've answered a few critics already, haven't they?
Well, that's right, but they are playing the Force, and the Force didn't really reckon anywhere in the last couple of years. They didn't play that well, and I think that, you know, they'll actually win a few. They'll be on a roller coaster ride, but probably be more in the lower part of the roller coaster ride over the next season, but they'll grow and they'll get better and better.
And we saw just the sort of player that, you know, when they were talking about the Kings starting, it was about developing players from the Eastern Cape region, and right on cue, 18-year-old Sergil Peterson, straight out of Gray's school, scores 2 tries and becomes an instant hero.
Great rugby school in South Africa. I mean, this guy can play the game. He's got a nose for the try line. I mean, what South Africa do have, though, is they do have depth. They've got a lot of very good rugby players. They have a great Currie Cup competition. They've got a Vodacom Cup competition which developed these, and a schoolboy competition which is really strong. Look, they've got lots of players. We're seeing evidence of that. I mean, there's a lot of guys who from the Lions who went around. Not all of them went down to the Cape. These guys have started well. They'll be a handful, and I reckon the Cheetahs will get nervous very quickly, because remember, there's a promotion relegation game.
Yep, later
Bottom
on.
Team.
Sharks are going to be very tough. They've signalled that already. I mean, there's just a brutality about the way their forwards do their work.
There is, and I love the way that the Sharks play. They use their backs, but they also use their forwards, and they grind a lot of teams to submission just by using this driving maul, and they're very, very good at it. And you know, we never saw it last year when they came to play in the final, because our Chiefs are too good. But the Sharks, they're going to be there they'll be in the finals this year. You can bank your money on that one, that's for sure.
OK, well, let's just have a quick wrap-up now of the results from the weekend. There were 3 try-scoring bonuses handed out to the Chiefs, to the Brumbies and the Blues, and the Cheetahs got a loser's bonus. And we'll start showing the points table from next week. We're going to turn back the clock in a moment with our archive quiz, but first the answer to last week's question.
Now out it goes on to Deacon Manu. Crichton up, trying to float a long one now to Miller. Faatau, Lomi Faatau, and the Chiefs are back in front.
Yes, Lomi Faatau was the answer, involved in a penalty try in that game too. Sam Newman of Needham, congratulations, you are the winner. And you are going to receive a copy of Buck Shelford's book, Buck Up. And got a new prize to tell you about in just a moment to go with this week's question. It's from Eden Park in 2005, Blues hosting the Crusaders.
The ball's been lost forward and picked up by the Blues. Gray.
What happened next? That's very much the question coming up for this week. What happened in that match? And you know the answers, I'm sure. And you know the address to reunion@skytv.co.nz. You can fax it or you can post it. And we have a special one-off prize. This is, we've been talking a lot about men's health on the program tonight, and this is a special jersey that the Blues are going to wear in the game against the Crusaders on Friday night. There's going to be a charity auction which you can find out about on the Blues website, blues.co.nz, and these jerseys are going to be auctioned off with the proceeds going to men's health. So that is for the winner of this week's competition, and all of the correct entries in our archive quiz over the next month or so are going to go into the draw for this fantastic book here. I'll just put it there so you can get a better look at it. This is called Generals of the Rugby World Cup. It's a limited edition book. It's signed by all the winning fly halves: Stephen Donald, Johnny Wilkinson, Michael Liner, Grant Fox. It's, as I say, it's a collector's item. So that's all the correct entries are going to go into have a chance of winning that. Let's have a look now to another big weekend of Super Rugby.
First up, Friday night, a beauty to start the weekend. Join us at 7 o'clock on Sky Sport 1 and the Rugby Channel for the Blues against the Crusaders at Eden Park. Then at 9:20, we're across to Sydney for the Waratahs and the Rebels. After that, it's straight to Brisbane, where the Reds are hosting the Hurricanes at 11:20. Saturday evening, join us in Hamilton. The first South African visitors to our shores as the Cheetahs take on the Chiefs in Hamilton from 7 o'clock. And then on Sunday morning, the Force in Pretoria to face the Mighty Bulls at 4 a.m. Followed straight after at 6 by the Sharks and the Stormers in Durban. Sky Sport 1 for live coverage, delayed on the Rugby Channel at 9:30. Not one to miss that game. Don't forget 8:30 tomorrow night for Sumo and the Team Rugby Zone with all the highlights of a big weekend of Six Nations action. On the program next week, All Black coach Steve Hansen will be joining us. So if you've got any questions that you want from him or want answered by him, please send us an email or you can tweet them through and we'll try and ask them. Thanks to Buck and Jeff. Finally, a couple of things. Would have been interesting to be on the ref's conference call yesterday morning after the first full weekend of the new TMO protocols. Produced some contentious decisions. The aim is to bring clarity and accuracy. It might take a bit of time and some tweaking to get it right. Secondly, this competition is not decided in weeks 1 to 3, so we shouldn't get too carried away. But great starts for the defending champions, the Chiefs, the new boys, the Kings, and the often whipping boys, the Blues, to boost those franchise. Well, it goes well beyond the points, doesn't it? And finally, most importantly, our condolences go to the family and friends of Philip Leishman. He was a friend and colleague to many of us here at Sky and a prominent figure in the history of television sport in this country. He was a real pro, a really nice guy, and a man who was happy enough to help out a very nervous television newcomer 20 years ago, something that has never been forgotten. Good night.
Going, gone.
Leverage, running on and on. Cullen might do it himself. Yes, he will. Superb.
They might be looking for 50. Tom Cowan.
Justin Marshall, he'll go all the way.
Wilson trying to reach the centre, does so.
He leads the charge. Oh, Jeff Wilson, superb. Puts it on the boot and chases and gets it.
In pass, and the first try. Zinzendrup, he's trying a drop kick from a million miles out. What a goal! Storming up to the 22, McCaw. Lamu.
This content was proudly made right here in New Zealand.
Win a trip to space with new Axe Apollo. See in store or Facebook for details.
Anyone can drive fast, but only a few truly race. They live for split-second decisions and fight for every piece of asphalt. They nail each apex and pick the perfect lines. They do this week in and week out because they share the driving force. Formula One, live and exclusive to your world of champions. Broadcast brought to you by Tiger Wheel and Tire.
This is Cup Day, the FA Cup, exclusive to SuperSport.
It is one of the greatest rivalries in Australian sport. It is the Queensland Reds up against the New South Wales Waratahs. Round 2 action.
Lucas, Simmons, here's the backs coming into it. Shipley crashing for the line, and he got it down, I think. The crowd in front of him thinks so does the referee. And Mitchell 2 tries in a couple of minutes. Foley. Volavola. Ben Volavola. Nobody in front of him. He's over. And the Waratahs are well and truly back into it. Pick and go here from Wallace Harrison. He lays it back. Frisbee
numbers
out to
down.
Quirk. Well, he didn't look to his right, but away goes Ed Quirk. He has Volavola to beat. Ed Quirk! Folau! Quirk not held. Pops it up. Try time! Ben Tabahi! At full time, the Reds had beaten the Waratahs by 25 points to 17.
Emperor's Palace, news of the Empire. Bringing you the best in entertainment, gaming, dining, and hotel stay options. Experience a journey of fantasy, fun, and humor in Factory, the latest stage production from the extraordinary imagination of Nathaniel. Gear up for the Winner Circle Challenge and win your share of over 300,000 Rand in cash and casino credits or a brand new VW Beetle. Spoil someone special with an elegant night stay, exotic cocktails, a romantic dinner, and a lazy breakfast. It's the perfect date for only 850 Rand per couple. It's all happening now at the Vegas of Africa. Emperor's Palace, the Palace of Dreams.
It's showtime, only on your World of Champions.
The Samsung Galaxy S3. It understands you. Sees your best side. Shares what's in your heart. Wait till you're asleep. Samsung Galaxy S3. Designed for humans.
England stole the French Renaissance at Twickenham.
The luck of the Irish, it was stolen by the Scots at Murrayfield.
Wales haven't given up hope of the title just yet.
We meet up with Jan Serfontein, the IRB Junior Player of the Year.
And we're in Rio for the final round of qualifying for the Rugby World Cup Sevens. England's 23-13 victory over France keeps them on course for a first Grand Slam for 10 years, and it's a measure of their growing stature that, even below their best, they're becoming a hard side to beat. France fielded a much-changed side to the one that had lost to Wales, and it produced their most convincing performance so far in the tournament. Wesley Fofana was reinstated at centre, and he quickly made his presence felt. His try merely reinforced the folly of playing him on the wing in the earlier games. Philippe Saint-André, the French coach, has been much criticised in recent weeks, and he appeared to do his cause little good by making a series of questionable substitutions in the final quarter. England's replacements, on the other hand, made an immediate impact. There was a slice of good fortune about Manu Tuilagi's try, but it did reflect England's increasing dominance. And Chris Robshaw continues to grow in stature as a player and as a leader. He's been influential in England's improved discipline and composure under pressure. It was England who finished the stronger as France finally ran out of ideas, and 2 late penalties from Toby Flood kept them on course for the Grand Slam.
It beggared belief and has defied analysis, but just how did the Scots beat Ireland at Murrayfield? That was the question on most people's lips, given the sheer dominance Ireland enjoyed, with more than 70% of both territory and possession. So the only surprise about Craig Gilroy's opening try was that it took Ireland more than 40 minutes to score it. But the failed conversion by Paddy Jackson in his first international was one of 3 missed kicks at goal by the 21-year-old. In the space of 10 minutes, Scotland overhauled an 8-point deficit. Not even the introduction of Ronan O'Gara could halt the Irish slide. It was a wretched day for Ireland's most capped player, and Irish misery was compounded with Laidlaw's 4th penalty of the afternoon. The game finished as it had started, with Ireland camped in the Scottish 22, but to no avail. It was the first time that Scotland had registered back-to-back wins in the tournament for over a decade, and puts them 3rd in the standings.
Wales may not yet have reached the exalted heights of their Grand Slam form of last year, but their win over Italy in Rome has kept them in the mix for this year's title. The conditions put paid to any hopes of running rugby, and without their one genuine world-class player, the suspended Sergio Parisse, Italy were bereft of ideas. This was the Italy of old, lacking penetration behind the scrum, few ideas in attack, and kicking away what little possession they had. And yet at the break, they were just 3 points adrift. But early in the second half, Wales finally broke Italy's spirit when Jonathan Davis scored his side's opening try. And when Italy lost Martin Castrogiovanni to the sin bin, Wales took full advantage. The earlier run of 7 consecutive defeats halted, and with 2 wins out of 3 in the tournament, Welsh hopes and confidence are rising.
After a break this weekend, Wales head to Murrayfield with a good away record in the Six Nations, while Scotland enter uncharted territory, aiming for a 3rd consecutive win in the tournament. France travel to Ireland, and with a trip to Twickenham next up for Italy, a season that began with so much promise is falling apart.
So another emotional roller coaster and weekend of mixed fortunes for our resident analyst Andy Robinson to sift through.
What an interesting weekend of rugby again, and certainly this weekend the defences held sway. Wales' performance against Italy, fantastic defensive performance from them. Scotland's performance against Ireland, what a magnificent, courageous defensive performance. But also England's against France, the way the defence stepped up and their ability to make the tackles and get the line speed really put France under pressure. It was interesting to see how England dealt with Bastareaud. Whenever Bastareaud carried that ball, he had 3-4 men ready to tackle him and put him to the ground, so therefore he couldn't get the line speed. France defended Tuilagi, they only defended with 1 man, which meant that Tuilagi could make the line breaks, and he was able to beat Bastareaud on a couple of occasions and move away. But what England aren't getting from these players is the offloading game. Also, they're not getting the passing game from them. So for England to be able to move forward and to bring in other players, i.e. the back 3, it's vital that the centres are able to pass to them. So for Barrett or Tuilagi to move forward, it's important they get the passing game in there. However, 12 Trees is that man that could just ignite the back line that a little bit more.
And lurking with intent behind the leaders are Wales.
The first half display against Ireland, to concede the 20 points that they did was hugely disappointing for them, particularly playing at home, and that's really had an effect on that first match and why they lost that first match. They've sorted out the defence since then. Against France, to only concede 6 points over there, very, very good. 9 points in Italy, that's the defensive line is now working well, and it's been an interesting battle going up to Murrayfield. Wales have done well there in the last couple of years. However, this resurgent Scotland team, they'll believe that if their defence can hold up, that they can get it and win that game. What are France going to do when they go to Ireland? That's going to be an incredible game. The Irish will be hugely disappointed with the score and losing the game. However, they played well. They played well against Wales, so they'll be excited about going home and putting a performance against France. France, they've got nowhere to turn, really. You know, they've just got to go out and play, and they've just got to play with the ball in hand and attack from anywhere. And I think with Para and Tranduc leading the team, I think they can achieve that. So that could be potentially the game of this weekend.
There was at least something for French fans to cheer about at Twickenham when their women's team beat England for the first time since 2005. It was England's second successive defeat in the tournament and all but ended their bid to win an 8th title in a row. France scored 5 tries on their way to a deserved 30-20 victory, which lifted them to second in the standings ahead of Italy, who lost to Wales. Ireland, who beat England the previous week, secured the Triple Crown with a win over Scotland, leaving them as the only unbeaten side in the competition.
In the European Nations Cup, Romania maintained their 100% record with a 25-15 win away to Spain. Played over the course of 2 seasons, the ESC is also part of the qualifying process for Rugby World Cup 2015, and Romania, one of only 12 teams to have appeared in all previous 7 finals, are in good shape to make it 8. 9-3 ahead midway through the first half, they extended their lead with an outstanding solo effort from fullback Catalin Fercu. Spain responded with a try early in the second half, but that was as close as they got to their opponents. Despite a late touchdown, the home side had left themselves with too much to do, and after 3 rounds, Spain remained bottom of the table.
Belgium's quest for a first win in the top tier continues after they lost to Portugal 18-12. After a narrow home defeat to Georgia and a draw against Spain, this was their first match away from home, and despite going behind to this try from Gonzalo Foro, they held a 1-point lead at the break. But a second try from Foro gave the Portuguese the lead, one held on to record their first win of the season. So just a point separates them from Belgium and Russia, with unbeaten Georgia and Romania well clear at the top. Georgia recorded their 3rd win of the tournament, 23-9 against Russia.
This week, the pool allocation draw for the Sevens Rugby World Cup takes place in Moscow. And last weekend in Rio de Janeiro, the final round of qualifying took place for both the men's and women's tournaments.
It's an amazing city. There's all sorts going on, and just the passion of the people and the whole culture is just, it brings a richness. I think it's going to bring a greater richness to rugby and world rugby right across the stage. And again, everyone's building up for Rio 2016, and have this tournament here, and the organisation has been fantastic. I mean, it looks great. There's some good rugby being played out there. There's some great passion, some great defence. So I think it all points well for a great Rio 2016, and for developing rugby and sevens in South America again.
We're placing huge emphasis on the Rio Olympics in 2016, which is why we've been hosting this tournament here for the last couple of years. We're also investing in Brazil as well, which is the 6th largest economy in the world, and we've high hopes for the Brazilian Confederation.
The men's tournament consisted of 2 pools of 5, with the top 2 from each group proceeding to a round-robin contest to determine the eventual winners. Argentina have already qualified for the World Cup, and with Uruguay topped their respective groups in this tournament, to be joined in the last 4 by hosts Brazil and Chile. In the women's tournament, the defending champions Brazil topped their group to secure a place in the last 4 against Venezuela, while Uruguay, with a 100% record, set up a semi-final against Argentina.
It's a young region, if you like, in terms of the development of the women's game, but it's certainly gaining momentum. From meeting with the unions and the region here, they're very committed to the growth and the development of the women's game. So I think that we're really seeing it's going to take off from here, which is really exciting. So we want to increase the numbers of girls and women playing the game right across the region. And we also want to see them playing in more competition, which is something that the IRB are committed working on with the region.
Later in the programme, we'll return to Rio for the final stages of the World Cup qualifier, and we talk to IRB Junior World Player of the Year, Jan Serfontein.
And they're ready. And away they go. Digging express for the early lead. And volley is gobbled up by a dolphin as Van Veek turns the corner. Now things are getting serious as Spinning Cobra charges up the back straight. And Edge to Tommy's he's hungry line close the gap. This will be tight, you now hold on. It's all gone away. It's timber tumbles. And now it's fist pumps, funny faces, mighty titan and celebrations galore. The Grand Slam T20 Challenge. Plenty action, plenty quick, with closer commentary on select matches. Exclusive to Supersport.
I've been alive for 11 years, and in all that time, I've never said a single word. But that's about to change.
My son led me to you to try and help you find your daughter. The people that we are dealing with are ruthless. They will kill her.
Why would they do that?
I don't know. They're after my son for the same reasons. Jake!
So what, we just follow them?
Welcome to my world.
Connect the dots in Season 2 of Touch, every Monday at 9:30 on Mnet.
2 years ago, Arsenal were gunned down at the Lane. Come Sunday, it's another North London biggie. Both teams are chasing the fourth spot and a chance to play in Europe. Both have ludicrous pace, both play fancy football, but both won't be going into the Champions League at the end of the season when Spurs host the Arsenal. The Barclays Premier League just gets better. Live in HD on Supersport. Broadcast brought to you by MTN, everywhere you go.
This is Cup Day, the FA Cup, exclusive to Supersport.
With English rugby in good shape, the RFU has launched an initiative using touch rugby to help create a lasting legacy following the Rugby World Cup in 2015.
We're coming into a phenomenal time for rugby in this country. We've got the Rugby World Cup coming up in 2 years' time. We've got the Women's World Cup next year in France. And obviously, Rugby Sevens entering the Olympics for the first time. So this is an unrivaled period for rugby. And we think this is a fantastic opportunity to broaden the reach of the game, attract new audiences, bring new people into our clubs to ensure that our club structures are sustainable and vibrant for the longer term.
For many of today's crop of internationals, touch rugby was their first introduction to the game.
It's definitely massively important. I grew up playing touch rugby, started when I was at the age of 5, and that got me into rugby, so hopefully that'll do that to a lot more kids growing up. And it gets people involved. It's a great way to keep fit. It's a really enjoyable game, it's easy to play, it's inclusive, so everyone can get involved, men and women, and you can have great fun with mates.
The thing with touch is that it's just got an incredible skill set, so you got your basics of passing and catching, but also like evasion, reading defence and being able to do moves that move the defence around to create those try-scoring opportunities. And touch, it's incredible for those kind of skills.
Helping to bring the game to a new audience is a team of extreme athletes, the Untouchables.
The Untouchables are a team of what can only be described as rugby's version of the Harlem Globetrotters.
It's a bit of a diverse team. They kind of pluck from individuals that are kind of superior in their fields and kind of put them together just to prove that anyone can play touch and anyone can get involved with touch rugby regardless of what sport you play.
We have Suzette, who is like this amazing dancer. She just does like loads of crazy stuff under the ball.
Tim Sheaf, unreal free runner, parkour athlete. Tanda as well, ridiculous parkour free runner. And Andrew's a basketball freestyler. He's done loads of things, High School Musical and all that jazz. So I think this is a walk in the park for most of these guys.
It's a group of people that we've put together to inspire the next generation of rugby players to come on board, to give it a go and consider rugby for the first time. We appreciate the full contact game may not seem like it's a sport for everyone, but we think through the lighter side of rugby, through the social fitness that touch can bring and the excitement the Untouchables can bring, we hope that people are going to give it a go, and who knows, we might also unearth the future 15s and 7s players of the future as well.
The Blue Bulls in South Africa have a history of producing some of its country's finest backs, and Jan Serfontein is hoping to add his name to a distinguished list. Having helped Baby Box to success in last year's IRB Junior World Championship, he was named Junior World Player of the Year.
It wasn't one of my goals from the start. It wasn't something that I expected. I think that being part of the team, the winning team, was more of an achievement, and it gave me more happiness, if I can put it that way.
Elusive runner. There are a few of those in this outfit. Liebenberg, the captain, wants to pop it over to Bryson. Bryson inside to Jan Serfontein. Can he drive to line? Yes, he can! The star of the tournament. Jan Serfontein, the hero of South Africa.
It was a great experience. It's something that I'll never forget, especially because it was in South Africa, in front of a home crowd. The final was 35,000 people. So I think it's any 20-year-old's dream to be able to play in front of such a big crowd against the All Blacks. When we won it, it was just the cherry on the cake.
Defending that title in France this year could prove difficult, as the majority of last year's squad are no longer eligible.
There's 3 of us left from last year. I think it'll help a lot for the team this year. We've been in the situation, we've been in the final, we know we've got the experience now. We know what it takes to win a tournament like this. We'll probably just give our experience and share it with the guys. I think the home advantage played a big role in us winning it last year. So this year is going to be a really big challenge.
Serfontein's great-grandfather, Jack Slater, was capped 3 times for the Springboks. His father, Jan, played for Eastern Province. So rugby's always played a huge role in his life.
Growing up in a rugby family, I think it helps because my dad always gives me advice on how my game went and so on. We always talk about rugby quite a lot, and I've got 2 brothers that love rugby just as much as I do. So from a young age, we'd always play together in the back garden, and that's where that competitiveness in rugby maybe comes from. So I think it helps a lot to where I am at the moment. I've grown in confidence quite a bit after the World Cup. It gave me the confidence to do things that I wouldn't normally do, but also being named the player of the tournament made me a marked man in the local competition. But I think that's what makes a good player, to be able to stand up to the occasion.
One of his country's rising stars, he recently extended his contract with the Bulls.
The Bulls, the structures are great. They've got great coaches. There's also a lot of talent there and competition. So it drives you to be better than the guy next to you. You can still improve a lot of stuff. My dad always said you can never be too fit or too strong or too fast. So there's always something to work on. And I have to work on those things until I get to the level that those guys are on at the moment. It's a dream of mine to play Super Rugby. If it's not this year or next year, I'm a big believer that all things happen with a cause. So if I'm obviously going to work hard to go for it this year. But if it doesn't work out, then I'm still young and there's still a lot of rugby ahead of me.
But Serfontein will have to wait a bit longer before making his Super Rugby debut for the Bulls, after they began their campaign with a 25-17 win over the Stormers in Pretoria. A scrappy affair from the start, the Stormers can have few complaints about the score. They were the architects of their own downfall, making 10 handling errors in the first half alone. And they were punished by a faultless kicking display from Morney Steyn. At the break, the 3-times champions led 9-0, but a scrappy Jean de Villiers try soon after the restart reduced the arrears. The turning point came when Chile boy Ralapelli was awarded a controversial try, and even though the Stormers outscored their opponents 2-1, they headed back to Cape Town with much to do after a disappointing start to their Super Rugby campaign.
Clive Woodward's attention to detail helped guide England to World Cup success a decade ago. But how detailed is his knowledge about himself and his own playing career?
I'll try and be funny. Who was the captain of the Ireland team when you made your debut?
Oh, who was the captain of the Ireland team? I came off the bench, 1980.
Back row.
Slattery?
Correct.
Jeez.
5 Englishmen played in your debut for the Lions. Who were the other 4 apart from you?
3 forwards. Back would be Carlton, Dodge.
Carlton.
Yeah. Forward, well, obviously Billy Beaumont was one. Frank Cotton.
No.
Peter Wheeler. Maurice Colclough.
Correct. What was your winning percentage for England as a player?
I haven't a clue. I played 21 times for England. I wouldn't say it would have been that high. 60.
61.9.
There you
That's
go.
Pretty good.
Absolute genius. 60%. Okay, that's probably higher than I actually thought it was actually, but I played 21 times, so 60%. Okay, that's not too bad.
You have 2 100% winning records against other countries. Can you name the 2 countries you have a 100% winning record?
Played worldwide. 100% records. Australia.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, never lost to Australia. New Zealand.
New Zealand.
Yeah.
Correct. Pretty good.
I actually didn't know that until you told me that.
Pretty good. 2. The 2 if you're going to have.
100% record against Australia, New Zealand. I should have known that before. Crikey. That's a good stat.
Back in Rio de Janeiro, and it was down to the last 4 in the final qualifying round for the Sevens Rugby World Cup, the draw for which takes place in Moscow this week. In the women's tournament, Brazil began the day with a comfortable 34-0 victory over Venezuela to secure their place in the final, where they'd meet Argentina, who beat Uruguay 17-7 in a keenly contested second semi. The men's tournament was decided by a round-robin contest between the 4 leading sides from day one, and there were few surprises when Argentina and Uruguay secured top billing, following wins over Brazil and Chile, respectively. With Argentina having already qualified, Uruguay's place in Thursday's draw was therefore secured.
As players, our minds will be totally focused on this. It's a dream, but we need to prepare very well, and we can't hold anything back. I was fortunate enough to have played in a Junior World Championship, but this is different. This is a Senior World Cup with the best players in the world, and we need to be very serious about how we focus on it and prepare.
Despite losing out on a place in the final, there was still plenty to play for between Brazil and Chile in the third-place playoff. The prize for finishing third was an invitation to take part in the Hong Kong Sevens and a chance to secure core team status. With so much at stake, it was little surprise that it was closely fought. 7-7 it finished, with Brazil claiming third place by virtue of having scored more points in their previous matches. In the final, Argentina beat the defending champions Uruguay to claim their first consort title since 2010.
The 3 teams that finished behind us have all been working so hard, and I hope they continue to grow.
In the women's final, with 5 minutes remaining, Brazil appeared on course for victory, having opened up a healthy 20-point lead. Despite conceding 2 late tries, they held on to secure a 9th title in a row. Victory for Brazil confirmed their recent domination of the Sevens game in the region, but there's still much to do ahead of the main event in June.
There's still a lot of training to be done. The Brazilian Federation has made the team semi-professional so that we can train together and compete with the very best teams in the world.
The lineup for the Sevens World Cup now complete. Brazil go into the draw alongside 15 other teams, with Australia hoping to successfully defend the title they won in Dubai. They'll avoid their nearest rivals in the opening stages, with England, Canada and the USA in different pools. In the men's tournament, 24 teams are involved, split into 6 pools. New Zealand are the #1 seeds and therefore will avoid the other top sides: Fiji, South Africa, England, Samoa and Australia. And we'll have that draw from Moscow's Petrov Palace in next week's show.
With the Lions tour to Australia coming up in just over 3 months' time, former Lions coach Jim Telfer gives us an insight into selection and the possible contenders. Join us then.
There are 15,001 parts in Lotus F1 car. To win, each part has to be in peak condition, including me and my scalp. That's why I need Clear's dandruff protection.
Clear Men, engineered to protect your scalp for zero dandruff, even in extreme race conditions.
It's the quiet versus the loud, and the courageous versus the cautious. It's the catches versus the cover drives, and the big boundaries versus the broken bales. Question is, who's who when performance is due? South Africa versus Pakistan, the T20 Internationals. Live on your World of Champions. Convenience is blue with Blue Approved.
Introducing Comfort-Pedic Memory Foam Slippers. Just slip them on and say goodbye to aching feet. The secret behind the Comfort-Pedic Slippers is the memory foam made with Zycor. With its billions of memory foam cells that instantly respond to the body heat and pressure of your own feet to give you a unique fit that's customized to you. Remove your feet and Comfort-Pedic Slippers return to their original form. And they have rugged skid-resistant safety soles, similar to many tennis shoes. So they are sturdy while giving you support, making them perfect for the market or the mall or to the end of the driveway.
These Comfort-Pedic slippers are like no other kind of slippers I've ever had.
Comfort-Pedic Slippers are available in sizes that fit anyone, men and women, and they make a great gift. You can get your very own pair of Comfort-Pedic memory foam slippers for only $149.95. Also available at these stores and Hallmark stores nationwide.
On Lions for Life, the pride of Josie. The Lucies enjoy a meal at Moyle. The Gauteng Sports Challenge gets the province on its feet. And our tough guys show their sweeter side on Valentine's Day.
Hi, we're here at the Lindt Chocolate Studio to make some chocolates for Valentine's Day.
Alright guys, so good afternoon and a warm welcome to Lindt Chocolate Studio Johannesburg. Nice to have you guys here with us today for our Valentine's workshop. We're going to be teaching you how to make 2 easy little truffles and then thereafter a chocolate lolly that you guys are going to decorate at your own accord. Alright, so we're going to make the coconut truffle with you guys now. So in the saucepan that Marco has on the stove currently, we've got coconut cream. Together with the coconut cream, we have a little bit of glucose, and then we've got our white chocolate here, as well as some desiccated coconut. So you're going to add your chocolate in now. If you have a look now, all the chocolate's now melted. You've got a nice smooth mixture. And last thing to now add into here will be the desiccated coconut. Alright, so once you've made your mixture, we're just going to put it into a plastic bowl so that the cooling time now is a lot less. Then we're going to pass the bowl around with some spoons. You guys can have a spoon each and have a taste of the mixture at this point. So we're going to move on to the second truffle now. In the saucepan that Marco's about to heat up now, we've got some raspberry puree. Okay, so again, after bringing the cream and the puree to a boil, you're going to add your chocolate in again. You're going to stir it until it's completely melted. So for us now, you're going to take a plastic scraper or even a wooden spoon, plastic spoon at home. And all we're literally going to do now is move the mixture back and forth until it thickens. Okay, so we're going to take all of the mixture out.
The players and their wives show off their creative side, some more successful than others.
So from this point now, you're going to leave it for around the next hour, hour and a half to now solidify. Now it's going to move on to after where the truffles have set. So as you can see, we had the log version. We've now just portioned them a little bit smaller into bite sizes. So what we're going to do is we're going to coat it in a tempered white chocolate and then just dust it in some colored coconut. So we're going to move on to the second truffle now. So you're going to take the truffle this time around, squeeze it down and just roll it into a ball. And the same principle will apply. We're going to get a pool of chocolate on your hand, roll it around. What we're going to do now is hand over to everybody here.
Gonna make a record. I'll just dust it up. Especially for you.
Ek kan nie op my neus is op dit voel.
Not too bad. It's actually very impressive. So if you ever need some extra help, I know where to look. Okay, so we're going to move on to the last little piece of your workshop for this evening, and that's to decorate your little Lindor lollies.
This Valentine's Day brought out the inner romantic and even the most serious rugby player as they had some fun with their chocolate decorating skills.
Now I know my wife likes chocolate, so I'm putting everything I can.
Oh my skat, nou ek en jy is die beste bende.
Since this is a day of celebrating love, I just want to say I will love you forever with all my heart, and yeah, you're the love of my life. This doesn't say much, but there's a message underneath.
Kevin and Marco, thanks for having us here.
Thanks very much. I hope to see you guys again soon.
Training was in full swing at Orlando Stadium as the team upped their game in preparation for the Gauteng Sports Challenge against the Vodacom Bulls.
It's going to be an amazing game for us. I'm playing here at Orlando Stadium in Soweto. We're really looking forward to the game. The guys trained really well this week. And yeah, it's going to be a massive game. And I believe in this team, and I know this team can go and win trophies. It's nice to get youth into the team. They just bring a little bit of team spirit, especially when you're down a little bit. They will always be enthusiastic. So for me, it's been an amazing experience playing with these inexperienced players, and in a few years' time, it will be the next Springboks.
It's been really nice. I enjoyed it very much. There's a lot of friends of mine playing here, so it was a very nice environment. The best part playing with the Lions is that it's the culture and the enjoyment of the guys here. They play for each other and playing together. It's a very nice feeling. It's always an exciting game to play. When I was at the Bulls and played against the Lions, I always know it's going to be a physical game, and I'm feeling the same as here as well. I'm very excited. It's always nice to play against the team you used to play for, and I'm hoping for a great game. And I know my team is going to perform. I think the fans is very loyal, and I thank them for staying with us even when we're not in the Super 15, and they should know that we'll always make them proud.
It's an experience for all of us, something new for the whole team and management. Going overseas, seeing places we've never seen before. Just not playing Super Rugby is not really a bad thing for us, and yeah, we'll make the best of it and get ourselves back into Super 15 next year. It's been a journey for me, coming from the Bulls. It's been something else. The freedom's awesome here. Playing Carry Cup last year, I think we had a good team, and yeah, we're just going forward this year.
It's game day in Soweto at the legendary Orlando Stadium for the first ever Gauteng Rugby Cup, where the stage was set for what is sure to become one of the biggest rugby events in the province. After a string of wins and great momentum at the MTN Lions camp, It was bound to be a tough game as both teams came into it looking strong.
A try here for Jan Serfontein. Early touch for the centre. It's forced off. It's an ambitious attempt at a drop. It's got the distance. It's magnificent kick. Lucia Hunter. Good ball outside. That Visser who gets in. Serfontein. Go on. Beautiful offload to Grant Hunter. Lovely ball by Forming. Should be points here for the Lions. A drive for the Lions. Jakob Kriel for the Lion who will win. Jakob Kriel brings it inside. The flag stays down. Has he grounded the ball?
Everywhere the Lions go, I will go. Next year, we're back in the Super 15, that's it.
The Lions are the best, and they're going to win.
We love the
Oh, Damian Gale will be a try here, should be. The easy step on the inside, and Anthony Falmack rounds off 48 minutes of very good rugby. South Africa 121 playing. Jochen Visser gets his second try of the match. Working with the ball out. And Jakob Kriel finally gets his try.
The MTN Lions showed heart and determination throughout the game, even into the last moments. But the Vodacom Bulls came out on top in this close contest of skill to earn the first Gauteng Challenge Cup.
The game today was fantastic. I think that quality teams were fielded. The atmosphere was great. The only thing I'd like to see better next year is to have more fans. It's a very emotional thing, and it actually speaks to one of the major objectives we had with the Gauteng Sports Challenge, which is something government calls social cohesion, where you get all South Africans from all races, all groups, to play together, get to know one another, be comfortable in each other's spaces, and I think today much of that was done.
Our guys really played well. They showed character, although we lost the game, but there were stages where we really done very well. A few decisions that we could have taken better, but other than that, we learned from this game, and obviously next week we'll go for the big one. For us, it was awesome really, coming out here to Soweto, driving here in a bus in convoy, being escorted here. Really, the people welcomed us here to Soweto. It was awesome. We've got a lot of young guys, very enthusiastic, very eager to learn and to play, obviously, and they just very willing and able as well, but all lovely, fantastic young guys, and look forward to working with them throughout the season.
I thought it was a good contest. Both sides, asked questions. There was some fantastic rugby. Both teams made mistakes, but it's early in the season. Obviously, a lot of things that work both ways, and some things that we still like to work on. Yeah, it's small margins that makes a difference. They had 2 vital line breaks, and I think the way we scrambled back and made the tackles. So if you say that, I thought our work rate, we kept working and keep grinding and getting up and reloading. So that was definitely, we were happy with that today.
I think the Lions really tested our defences. They kept the ball really well, and that's what you want in the preparation game for Super 15. They stretched us out wide, and I think, especially in the end, our defence really stood up to it, and I'm proud of the young guys that played today.
I felt great for playing today at Orlando Stadium. I think I could have done better for the team, but it felt good playing with the boys. It's obviously awesome to score some tries, but you have to give the credit to your teammates, and I obviously thank them for my tries I scored today. I think we could have done better as a team by helping our decision makers, and obviously the forwards could have done a lot better at line-out time, getting our own ball.
Coming up after the break, the Southern Kings are dethroned at Ellis Park.
Within the turmoil of beats and screams, of thundering steps and hurried breaths, a moment will come when past and future collide and leave nothing but silence to mark the birth of a champion. The UEFA Champions League on your world of champions. Inspired by the amazing true story.
How is she going to live if she can't swim?
No dolphin has ever been known to lose its entire tail and survive.
Mayhem medal winner. The challenge was impossible.
Nobody in his right mind would even try to put a tail on a fish.
You can't give up on her. But her spirit was unbreakable.
I hope you love her as much as I do, because Winter and I are family. And family is forever.
Dolphin Tale, Sunday at 8 on Mnet and 8:30 on Mnet Movies Premiere.
This is Cup Day, the FA Cup, exclusive to SuperSport.
I'm a bit nervous, but I'm glad it's finally here.
I average about 18 hours a week.
So many people sacrifice so much.
Honestly, the toughest thing I've ever done in my life.
It's magical and it's untamed and it's African.
The Absa Cape Epic, 10 years untamed. The prologue of the ultimate mountain bike adventure. Live and exclusive to SuperSport. Proudly brought to you by Absa.
The only Serbian man to win a Grand Slam championship. Novak Djokovic is once again the king down under.
We joined the Sanedi CEO, Kadri Nassip, at Children of Fire, where he teaches the importance of saving energy to those who have been most negatively affected by it.
Kids are very receptive and they become excellent learning aids, if you like. So unlike their parents that are probably more resistant to change, we find that children are very tuned in to their environment. So it's perhaps a good time to get these children more and more educated about the need to save energy and the ways in which you do it.
Why is it important to recycle plastic?
Well, I'm glad you asked the question about plastic, because one of the important things to note is that plastic is so widespread. As you already know, it's something that finds its way into the food chain, and so eventually it starts clogging up our waterways and starts affecting both bird life and our fish, and of course any other creatures that actually come into contact with plastic. These bottles take decades to actually biodegrade, so there's a need for us to deal with plastic bottles and other sources of plastic.
What is solar energy and why do we need it?
Well, we know that solar energy is important to the globe. Without it, of course, we couldn't sustain life. It's very important that we find useful ways of harnessing that solar energy. There are many things that are being done with solar energy that are useful for our society. For instance, the most commonly seen application is in the case of photovoltaic panels. A lot of you will see them on roofs, but there are more effective ways, cheaper ways of doing that. A lot of you would have seen black piping as well on roofs that's also used to heat water. Nowadays we have lots of applications involving solar water heaters that actually replace the geysers. Now a geyser is a very expensive way of heating up water. So what we try to do is, and this is where you become very, very important, is that the message needs to go out into communities that we need to start utilizing more and more either black piping on our roofs, more solar water heaters, more solar panels, and there are a whole host of other applications that are coming out right now. And as you guys grow up into adults, we'll be hoping that you become ambassadors, that you're able to go out there and actually show people what you can do, the positive side of energy.
Some of the Lucies took time off from their rigorous training schedule to recharge their batteries with great food and even better company.
Welcome to
Moya.
We are
Very
happy
to be.
Yeah. Thank you.
Can I please have a flame fillet?
I also would like a flame fillet.
Can I get a fillet that's flame?
Medium rare.
Medium rare.
Medium rare as well, please.
So Mina, what do you think about the Lions Challenge? Like the new opponents and stuff? Yeah.
It's going to be interesting. It's a new. There's a lot of new teams that nobody's seen playing here before.
Who's the most exciting team you want to play against this year?
Well, I think for one is the Kings. It's going to be a nice game. And then it's one of the French teams. And I think the tour to America is going to be quite nice as well.
Krila, so all the new players in the squad now, all the young guys and stuff, how do you think that's going to influence the game?
The Oaks are really playing their best games, really doing their best, being professional, being at another level. I think that it's really exciting for the new Oaks, and that brings energy to the already existing squad members.
Especially having new games and teams like Samoa and French Barbarians, it's always going to have a good atmosphere, and especially with the new guys coming in. And there'll definitely be a new dynamic in the team, like excitement and all that stuff. I don't think that will influence the new guys, unexperienced guys and so on.
I think it's going to be massive for them. It's going to take a lot of character out of them. I think they will make the step up with the senior Oaks helping them, to advise them, help them in the games. It's all about their attitude and what they're going to bring to the games. So really talking about all the new guys in the squad, how do you experience it, having to help them with the game plan and all the new stuff?
I really enjoy helping the guys, especially if they want to be helped. Like all of the new guys, they're in for the challenge and really excited to play with some of the senior players, like Derek Mini and Jaco Kriel. And so they're really willing to learn very fast. And I think for us, just making the environment just fun for them and bringing them to a braai or whatever, just creating a whole environment of a team, like a little family.
Billy, tell me, we've got all our games except 3 games or 4 games at home.
I think the Lions Challenge is great for the Lions, for the whole union, and bringing the supporters back to Ellis Park.
No, I think it's a good platform for South African rugby. It's something new and it's energetic for the crowd as well. But we as Lucy are getting... I think it's time to eat something.
Yeah, hungry.
Nom, 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 nom.
Huh?
Just,
lekker lei.
Thanks guys for watching Lions for Life. From us Lucy's, just want to say thank you and thanks for all the support. And hope to see you guys again soon. Have a nice night.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Bye-bye. See you later.
Bye-bye.
After a disappointing outcome against the Vodacom Bulls, the MTN Lions wasted no time in getting back to training for the much-anticipated clash against the Southern Kings. The players pushed their physical and mental limits to gear up for the meeting with their Eastern Province rivals.
Ik denk ons het lekker geoefen vandag. Ik denk dit is ons beste oefeningssessie van die dag en van die week sover. So, en ons almal is baie positief vir die Kings en hopelik klop ons hulle.
I'm very excited for a game on Saturday. I think it's going to be a huge game for us and especially for the Kings as well. So I think it's going to be a very entertaining game.
With preventing injuries, you need to do certain things, which we do here, called rehab classes, where Yanni does exercises for the players. We've got a statistician who does some of our stats with injury-related things. And he found a couple of things like shoulder, knee injuries, which is quite high in most rugby teams, but specific in our team, and we're definitely working on that. And it makes a massive difference if you try and prevent those injuries from happening in the first place.
They say rugby fans are the best in the world, but the Lions, no doubt, are the most loyal. People, young and old, flock to Ellis Park to witness this epic matchup between the two teams. The Southern Kings prepared to take on the local giants, seemingly calm despite a Lions-filled stadium. It was an electrifying atmosphere. The positively charged crowd geared up to back their team for a much-needed win.
The ball into space, and Bernardo was in the right place at the right moment. The power man in that line scrum. And somebody's dived over the left side of that ruck. Tunya. And this is good play down by Michael. We see that. This should be a try for JJ Briot. The flanker gets in, and once again the soft hands of Stockies Hanekom play a part. Momentum will take them well over the line, and they smash it over the goal line.
Lions, you guys are doing great. I love you, and I will always be your supporter.
It's been a very good game. I think the guys have been doing well. Nice to be ahead of the Kings at halftime, and hopefully we give them a bit more.
Now Herbst, can he have this feed? Yes, he could get in. He will get in the scrum half. No attempt there by Franco Morstedt. Herbst looking for the opening. Gets his second try. Morstedt, first to find. Look at this. Oh, yeah, the DP Kings are saying we didn't form a maul. The referee disagrees and awards the try.
The MTN Lions made their fans proud as they emerged victorious.
It was great. It's nice to be at Ellis Park. Obviously we weren't that welcome here, but that's good. It shows that the guys are passionate here. It was an athletic game, and I think the Lions did well. Congrats to the Lions. I think they're superb. They made use of the ball they had. They got into half and come away with points.
Well, it was a great atmosphere. I mean, the guys came out. Joburg crowd came out to support their boys. It was actually a great atmosphere out there. Pity we couldn't pull off the win, but I mean they had a good spectacle at the end.
I thought the boys really did go pretty well. I thought that we had opportunities to win it at the end. Unfortunately, we just couldn't hold on to the ball for a long enough period.
I really enjoyed it. I found it tough though. We stuck. It was difficult to stick to our structures and stuff, but at the end, luckily, we just held in there and came out on top. I enjoyed it. It was nice to score a try.
Yes, it was amazing. I think 18,700 fans again in Ellis Park. I think that's something good to play for.
Plenty of heart, plenty of good rugby. Maybe a little bit soft on the defence, some easy giveaway tries. Maybe a little confident too early, but the signs are there. The signs are there for a big season for us.
After scoring a debut try in the red and white kit, this was a huge day for JJ Briot.
No, I think it was a good play from the team. I don't think it's just me. The execution was there. So yeah, it was a great one for my first cap, my first starting cap. So yeah, I'm grateful.
I love you guys.
With a nail-biting win, close to 20,000 supporters screaming from the stands, the MTN Lions proved that they were ready to take on the challenge.
Say Lions!
To stay in touch, like the Lions for Life Facebook page and follow Pride of Josie on Twitter.
This is the first date.
How you doing?
Die bekoring van Boschendal. Elegansie in elke slukkie. Styl in elke glas. Fantasties in elke borrel. Volmaaktheid in elke bottel. Uitstekend in elke opsig. Boschendal.
Do you want to be part of the winning team? Predict the Momentum Man of the Match in every Proteas game against New Zealand and Pakistan, and stand in line to win a R10,000 voucher on each match day to be used at any of the Momentum Multiply partners. The grand prize is a once-in-a-lifetime family experience to the Walt Disney World Resort in Florida, USA. Go to supersport.com, web and mobile to make your predictions and stand a chance to win. Proudly sponsored by Momentum Multiply.
And crowd-pleasing rugby. This is where raw talent is born and bred, where fans become fanatics, and where every player can rock the rugby world. It's the most fun you'll have on a Monday. It's rugby that rocks, exclusive to SuperSport. The FNB Varsity Cup, presented by Steinhoff International.
We need you in Virginia, Ryan. You caught Carroll. No one knows him like you do.
Carroll was convicted in 2003 for the murders of 14 young women.
He'll only talk to you.
Did you know that up to 300 serial killers are active in the U.S.?
3 bodies were found murdered in the last 6 hours.
He's finding people to help him do it on the internet. You are searching for redemption. This is just the beginning.
Hot on the heels of the US premiere, Season 1 of The Following, Wednesdays at 9:30, exclusive to Mnet.
Well, Super Rugby is in full swing, and this weekend the Crusaders will get going. They'll be the last of the teams to take to a field. We'll also be taking a look at what happened and analysing Week 2's action. This is Boots and All.
Boots and All on SuperSport. Proudly sponsored by Vodacom.
Good evening and welcome to Boots and All. As mentioned, by the end of this weekend, all the 15 teams will have been on the pitch. So we're looking forward to seeing what the 7-time champions, the Crusaders, will be doing this week as well. But in this show, we're going to be analysing quite detailedly what happened in round 2, especially with those South African matches. And of course, we saw 1 or 2 controversial things as well. But we'll have a special guest on the show just to talk us through exactly what it is we saw. On top table tonight, 2 gents are going to help me fight our guests, starting with Hanyani Shemange, closest to me, and Nick Mallet. Shema, I'll start with you. We've been waiting to see I suppose, the most successful New Zealand team get into it, but what we saw on Friday morning was absolutely superb. Can we expect to see more of that, given the way that the laws have been adapted?
Yeah, look, I think we'll see it from the New Zealand teams. The laws are there to try and make the game a bit quicker, a bit more exciting. You know, you compare the New Zealand quality to the South African quality, 2 totally different, I'd say, rugby cultures and concepts. You know, we saw the Bulls trying to be more expansive, whereas, you know, with the Canes and so with the Chiefs and the Highlanders, you know, it's part of their culture there. You saw it with ITM Cup also.
Nick, from a South African point of view, we haven't had any matchups except for what happened in Port Elizabeth between the Kings and the Force. Do you think we'll be able to play that high-tempo game, or does a defensive game and a more traditional supposedly South African game have some merit in this season.
Yeah, I think first of all, fantastic win by the Kings. Really, really pleased for the coaching staff and for the players, because no one predicted that, and so that's at least the first little hurdle that they managed to get over. But from a South African point of view, we must understand that we do tend to be very good at coaching our defence, our natural physical stature. We're very courageous, the rugby players. They tackle well, they run, they're not afraid of contact. And I think the coaching perhaps in New Zealand and Australia is a little bit more towards the into space. I don't think the defences in the New Zealand conference was that watertight, quite frankly, were that watertight last weekend, whereas ours are pretty hot.
Well, of course, there's a melee, I suppose, of rugby in any given weekend. Alma Smith's got all the details. Al?
Yes, you got their introductory thoughts now, but let's just give you a roundup or perhaps a refresher if you might have forgotten what happened over the past week. In Super Rugby last weekend, Highlanders Chiefs kicked it off, and what a way to start the rugby weekend off. Phenomenal game, so exciting. Nothing really exciting about the Brumbies beating the Rebels, quite expected. Bulls Stormers disappointed a lot of Stormers fans, but Mornay Steyn will be very happy with those 6 penalties that he got over there. Hurricanes Blues winning there, nice start for them, and the Reds 25-17 over the Waratahs. Cheetahs losing to the Sharks at home, and the Kings definitely the team on everyone's lips after Saturday night. On Facebook, it was interesting that no one mentioned Sergil Peterson, but the Kings got a few question marks and exclamation marks. I think the Kings played well, better than the Stormers, and I'm a Stormers fan, says Alison, and Stefan says the Bulls look good, Stormers are shaky, and Cheetahs should play more of an open game. Corey van Deventer reminds us that it's early days. Danwin echoes that, and Kings surprised all of us. De Vries just echoing all the Kings' sentiments so far. So now, let's have a look at the Oz Conference. After week 2, Brumbies at the top. This is the team that everyone's picked as one of the Australian teams to keep an eye on. In the New Zealand Conference, note that the Crusaders haven't actually played a game. They've had a bye. Chiefs in second and Blues leading the table at the top with 5 points on points difference. And in the SA Conference, I'm sure a lot of Kings haters and Lions fans didn't think this would happen. Kings at the top, Bulls second, and the Stormers rock bottom, points difference against them massively there. So the overall log, Brumbies at the top, Blues and Kings representing the South African side, and then in the playoff spots, Chiefs, Bulls and Sharks. Nice having the Bulls and Sharks represented there. Crusaders 7th without having played a game, and look at that bottom 3, Stormers, Highlanders, Hurricanes. I'm pretty sure that's going to change very, very soon. So there's going to be more from me a little later. Make sure that you join the conversation. Whenever those guys at the desk say something that you perhaps don't agree with, or if you think they've missed anything, tweet me live during the show using the hashtag #SSRugby, or go right on our SuperSport Boots and All Facebook page, because I'll be sharing your comments later on in the show. If you want to mail us, boots@supersport.co.za.
What do you mean don't agree with? We always agree with what the guys have to say. But just touched on what happened in the first match. The Highlanders, of course, taking on the Chiefs in the first match of the weekend, which provided us with tries galore. But I suppose, Nick, you have to, as you mentioned earlier, really take a bit of a critical look at the defences of both sides in this game.
Well, I mean, that first try, the pickup by Smith was absolutely incredible. Round his ankles at full pace, getting through 2 tackles and then scoring. But look, in that case, you see Marinoni run right out of line, spot tackle the wrong guy or go for the wrong guy, and this guy's got so much gas to burn to finish it off. Fantastic game. I mean, just a wonderful game for television viewers. Tries. Plenty of tries. This is a brilliant finish. But look at the Chiefs defenders, particularly the number 15, bang behind his winger, so wasn't able to defend on the step inside.
Shimmy, this was not really like the first game. A lot more sort of demure performances from both sides. Is that perhaps not what we expected?
Well, I think the Blues are probably where the Hurricanes were last year. A lot of players have left, and that rebuilding phase. I think any team with Graham Henry is going to be dangerous. And the Bulls certainly have tidied things up. But then again, you speak about, you question the defensive effort of both sides. It's one man just coming up. There's no spacing, alignment. And it makes it, it's spectacular to watch. But then you've got to question the defensive abilities of both sides.
Well, it certainly gave us a wonderful way to start off the week and a lot of excitement as well. And I suppose we really want to see the excitement. I suppose, though, the questions for you, gents, if you look at this manner in which the New Zealand players are going about their business, which is probably what Sansa want to try and inculcate a little more of, does that translate now automatically into Test rugby?
Yeah, well, the way All Blacks played last year, you know, they were running around like that. So they've got the ability to do it, but you've got to make sure you've got a good set phase. We looked at that Blues try. Against the South African team, there's no way they'd get easy back ball like that. So it would have been front ball. They have to play it up front, though, and then earn the right to go out wide, though. But if your set piece isn't strong, you can't run around like that.
Yeah, and in a Test match scenario, Nick, things are a lot more tighter.
I think what we've got to compliment the coaches. What I think the Chiefs coaches, Dave Rennie and Wayne Smith, have done so well is they've got, in their very first game, which was going to be a very tough one down against the Highlanders, without Sonny Bill Williams, who was a revelation last year in terms of his offloading, in terms of ability to create space, they managed to produce a performance that was really eye-catching. It was fantastic television spectacle, and so, you know, great coaching performance. But I just think in Test matches, and certainly when they get up against South African teams in South Africa, or with better structured defences, it's going to be harder for them to score. It requires two to tango. You know, both teams played that running rugby, which made it very attractive. But when they play a South African team determined not to give turnovers and turn ball over, it's much more complicated to score those end-to-end tries that happened in that game, the Chiefs game.
Well, talking about Dave Rennie and his charges, they'll be in action against the Cheetahs, the team they most rate to play a similar type style to them. In fact, that's what Rennie said earlier this week. A couple of changes there, guys. Hika Elliott, I suppose, is the senior hooker in that team, so they are strengthening up the front row. Augustine Pulu, we know, and Lilia Masanga, we know very well.
Yeah, well, no, his dance moves very well also. So really, certainly one of the good finishes. What fascinates me, I think Nick mentioned the coaches, you know, you speak about Super Rugby winning teams. They talk about 10 All Blacks, you know, having 3 or 4 world-class players. You go through that team there, you know, it's Cruden second behind Dan Carter. There's not really a lot of All Blacks, so it just shows that the coaches have got the culture right, firstly, and the style of rugby, and whatever they're doing there is working perfectly.
Just one change in the Cheetah side, Sarah Pretorius, I suppose. Does that mean we should expect even more running, given Piet van Zyl dropping to the bench?
Yeah, I think I've read that the Cheetahs took a lot of encouragement out of the second half against the Sharks, and they feel that if they do have a crack at teams, they can create opportunities and score tries. So now here we're going to see if Cheetahs go in with that attitude, and they are, I think, the most entrepreneurial type of team in South African rugby. They really give it a crack. Yeah. It could be difficult against the Chiefs, because that's the type of game that the Chiefs enjoy playing. So, you know, it goes against what I said early on, where the South African teams tend to defend well and put the ball behind and kick a lot and use rolling balls and structured phase plays, whereas this is very much off the cuff. So if the Cheetahs play off the cuff, it should be a really entertaining game.
Well, Kevin's tweet that you see on the screen there, talking about the fact that the Cheetahs were slow starters last week against the Sharks, but they certainly looked the part in the second half, Shami.
The Cheetahs get themselves in trouble. You know, when they play with freedom, they look good. When they go coast to coast or play a bit wider, they really look good. They've got good ball carrying, loose foot. This was a fantastic pass here to Lapis Labiskaki. Then they're good, but somehow I think there's a lack of belief in that team. They get there, they play structured, they look tight and nervous, but when they let that ball go, they look really good. You know, Sadi, Raymond, Drule, Sorrel Pretorius, really good broken field runners. So they've got the ability to do that. And a guy like Quisson can sit back in the pocket, slow a game down if he has to. I mean, that is vintage Johan Sadi, that outside break of his with Drule next to him. But Cheetahs need to play with freedom to give themselves a chance. And combine that with their belief, I think they'll be very good. Good to see Johan Quisson back and kicking well.
Yeah, I think you know, obviously the first half was a little bit difficult for him, but there he kicked very well at the end of the game, and they both had decisive passes, especially on Sadi's try. It was a real mismatch, you know, prop against a very fast centre.
Never a mismatch. Never a mismatch.
And I must admit, some really interesting news from Hamilton, where the local council and the Chiefs have combined to give free bus services to and from the match, which is, I think, something that a lot of unions could perhaps take a leave out of. After the break, we have Andre Watson in studio to talk about those controversial decisions that had everybody abuzz this weekend. But to lead us there, here's a little trivia.
ladies. Vodacom, power to you.
Welcome. Excuse me? Not your Skulk burger? No, I get that a lot. Come on, Skulk. Tell us a story. Okay. Hey, nog eentje.
Make it a double.
Double clip terug met ijsje.
When great nations meet, who will rise? The RBS Six Nations, only on SuperSport. Proudly brought to you by Sasfin Bank, a partner beyond expectations.
It's just a football match, but it does have the best players on the planet. It's just a football match, but that won't stop a billion eyes from watching. It's just a football match, but it could just be the best one you'll see all year. El Clásico, Real Madrid versus Barcelona, exclusively on your World of Champions.
It's showtime, only in your World of Champions.
Well, if you think you know the answer, tweet it. Just hashtag SSRugby, and Alma will give out the answer to that quiz a little later in the show. But I'm pretty sure a couple of you remember that situation. It was quite tricky. Well, joining us in the studio now, as mentioned earlier, is Andre Watson, the General Manager, SA Referees. Watty, great to have you back in the Boots and All studio. Great first weekend. You've had a couple of young guys come through the ranks. Last year we saw the guys like Jason Jafta in the lower divisions. Now these guys have been promoted into Super Rugby. Your take on how the South African refs have performed so far?
Yeah, well, we've had more of the senior guys, and Lawrence, who's not quite a junior, but I think it's his third or fourth Super Rugby game. Pretty happy, but it's a long season, so let's not start bragging too soon.
Well, the reason, of course, we've got Andre in studio is because people were moaning this past weekend after looking at a couple of fairly controversial or touchy moments in matches. Nick, I'll hand it over to you because we've picked out a couple of clips.
Yeah, just had a look at a couple of things this weekend that caused a few murmurs. The first one was this long kick hit by Barrett, who, it's a race between Halai and Sevilla. There's definitely the left hand of the Blues winger, who makes no attempt to ground the ball and rather pushes it out. What's your take on that, Andre?
Yeah, well, I think we need to stand still on a couple of things. Firstly, you're never allowed to slap or knock the ball back over the dead ball line, touch-in goal line, or even a touch line. You will certainly concede a penalty for that. So that's the first thing. So the player in white, they're guilty as charged. The penalty try is interesting because the law is very clear that a try would probably have been scored. Now, if you can look at that again, you'll probably see that the yellow player was beaten. He wouldn't have got his hand down because you're allowed to run shoulder to shoulder and bump each other. You'll see it now. He was actually beaten, specifically the shot from the back. Yeah. From the back angle, he wouldn't have got there. In fact. All right. But the player, the other yellow player, was just a couple of meters back. He's now already... You see, that guy was beaten. He wouldn't have got there.
Barrett is behind.
So but there, that guy, if that ball would just lie in, and it's almost stopping, it's just, you know. Yeah. So the call was that player would have probably have scored the try, but for the foul play incident. So, yellow card, penalty try.
So you accept that's a good decision. That was a good decision taken.
Yeah, it is. But I also have to say, I said to you before we went on air that this is one of the unique instances where a penalty and a yellow card would have been a good call as well, because that probability, although the power of reading the probability lies in the referee's eyes only, and in this case TMO as well, they thought would have gotten there.
Okay.
If they said not, I don't think anybody would have moaned about it.
Andre, just a quick one. A lot of times you see teams collapsing more there. What's the difference between that and, probability? As a guy's got the ball at the back of a maul, there's probably 2 meters worth of players in front of him. A team collapses it and they give a penalty instead of a penalty try.
I'm so glad you mentioned it.
I'm just wondering, because
I'll take my $10 back now. Thanks, honey. That's right. Awesome. It was worth $10. 100% right. It irritates me. It irritates coaches. It irritates people when you set up a maul and you're really working hard and you've got it under control, and by anybody's call they're probably going to cross the line and then someone collapses it. So we should see more penalty tries for that. But I'm not saying for a minute that every collapsed maul near the goal line should be a penalty try. Yeah. The try must be on. It must be probable, not a possibility. And there's a difference.
Okay. If we can just move on to the next one, which is Jean de Villiers' kick ahead, and I think probably last season we might not have seen this being called a scrum 5. It was a very small deviation of Kirshner's hands. You see it from a different angle, and this is, I think, an example of where TMA can make a very good decision, a referee can make a very good decision, because a 5-yard attacking scrum is a fantastic attacking opportunity.
100%, Nick. I'm very proud of this. I mean, we are trialling the TMO protocol globally this year, which is now in Super Rugby, as you've seen, exactly the one we've had in Currie Cup last year. So we're very proud about that, and also proud about the assistant referee and Yaku, the referee, who thought they heard a deflection and referred it back. And it's huge. It was a 5-meter scrum for Province as opposed to a 22-meter dropout for Bulls. And a classical example of how the TMOs and technology can help us make the right decisions.
Good. Let's move on to the next one, which is a bit more controversial. I think, and this is the one where I think perhaps there could be arguments against a try being scored. We have a look at Hougaard Grubbers, have a look at Shimangi at Chili Boy, who's within the 10-meter radius and in front of the kicker, who turns and plays the ball immediately. Now, I've heard that Bray has been pretty rude about that decision, both the TMO's decision and also about Jaco Paper's decision there, saying that they should, even if it did graze this guy's boot, it doesn't play Chili Boy on sides, and therefore it shouldn't. He's in the 10-yard area, he should move out, and that should never have been a try. What's your take on that?
100%, and it might not be easy to explain what offsides and what 10 meters means, but in this incident, there's no argument. Chili is within 10 meters of a player playing the ball or the ball touching the player. Nothing can put him onside, nothing. He can only make a U-turn and go back 10 meters or run back 10 meters until a player was behind or in line with Hougaard and then put him onside. So that's it, that's the end of the story. However, there are two exceptions. The one exception is law 11.4F, and you grabbed the first law book tonight, Gola. So 11.4F clearly has an exception. If a Province player, or my apologies, a Stormers player. If a Stormers player charged the ball down deliberately and the ball comes off his hands, then a player that's accidentally within the 10 meters can play on, because this guy actually played the ball.
Andre, would an example of that be the Springbok try against England, where the England player hit his leg and we sort of thought that might have been a charge down, and then suddenly we got the try? Was it our flanker? Sorry, Albert scored.
Exactly. That's the opposite, because there's another area as well in general play when in that Springbok test, when the fly-off kicks the ball and anybody in front of him is offside and liable to be penalised. However, if an opposition player catches the ball and passes it, he's onside. Or if an opposition player kicks the ball,
yes,
see what happened?
Okay.
Then he's onside. Or if an opposition player runs 5 meters, you don't measure 5 meters, you measure 5 paces. But definitely within the 10 meters offside. A mistake by the officials, because Jaco referred it and said, see if it touched him. If it didn't touch him, then he's in trouble. That's Chile now. Yeah. If it touched him, then it's a try. And they got that wrong. As I bragged on the previous clip, we have to put our hands up. That was That was not a good decision by the officials, and the TMO should have backed him, and he couldn't back him out of that one either.
Do they maybe it's the question, if we say, is it a try or not? I mean, surely that's a good question, then you can see, rather say, did it touch his boot?
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? Maybe the questioning was wrong with regard to that. If you said, is it a try or not?
But even if it had touched his boot, if it wasn't a charge down, if it had been an inadvertent boot touching his boot.
If they can stop it when it supposedly touches the province guy, but they can just freeze it there, please.
I think it misses his boot personally.
If we can get that. I'm still not convinced that I'll put my $2 worth on it, that it actually hit his foot. No. You know, a camera hasn't got three-dimensional view. I'm not convinced it hit a province player's foot. And there is probably the best one that confirms that it did not. Yeah. But whether it did or it didn't, it wouldn't have put you on.
It's actually irrelevant. Well, we've also been speaking this season quite a bit about what's been termed the 5-second law, of course, and we had a little bit of an issue, I suppose, in the Western Force game, and Ken Burr talks about that the try which was denied to the Force. Please explain, does that law now negate the rolling maul? But maybe Ken might be a little simplistic in the manner in which he's asking it, because there is a lot more to the law that we've seen there. Let's take a look, Nick.
Well, here you've got the Western Force against the Kings get a really good driving maul going. It does come to a stop, and listen to the referee. Use it once. It stops, and they get going again. And he asks for them to use it again. They carry on. The scrum-off doesn't take the ball out, and he looks absolutely horrified that the try wasn't scored. Was that a good call?
Yeah, it was a perfect call, 100% for the referee there. And it's a nice clip to explain to the people out there, because I think there may be some confusion. I think it's very simple. On the first call, use it. They can use the ball in two ways. They can either bring it out, or they can continue mauling again. Right. On the second, use it or lose it, they've only got one action or reaction. The ball has to emerge. You cannot restart that maul for a third time. And that's exactly what happened. And it was clear how Lauren shouted, use it second, or that's twice now. Use it, you've got to bring the ball out. And they felt giveaway. Can I just add, Nick, you guys are coaches, and it's very important. You coach your teams to stop the maul. If my watch is the mauling hand, you coach your boys to stop me. Yes. Once you stop me, that's a mini victory, right? Yeah. Now, if we allow on the second stop, your second mini victory, for this thing to continue, you wouldn't coach.
No, I absolutely agree with you, because I think it is one of the very odd laws in rugby which allows obstruction. The ball is at the back. You have no ability to get to the ball, the player holding onto the ball, except through flooding players into 100%. That maul. And if you do manage to stop it, you should get credit for it.
That's what happened.
Do you think, just finally, do you think that the overseas referees are going to referee it with the same accuracy as Lawrence did there?
Yeah, well, they have to. And I've put a message through to Super Rugby referees, and I'm just going to spill my thoughts here, but I believe, the law is very clear. A maul is not only stationary when it's standing still in South African land. It's also stationary when it moves sideways.
It doesn't go forward. Okay.
It's got to go forward. And if it goes backwards, it's standing still by the law book. All right? So it's not take a picture and everything is frozen. If it moves sideways or backwards, it's standing still. And I believe rugby referees worldwide allow that to carry on for the sake of flow and continuity. And they use it once and they use it twice. It's got to come quicker, because that's how you reward players who legally defend mauls. Yeah.
Well, there was a lot of debate amongst our staff here and in the studios as well, but I suppose nowhere was the battle more heated, Alma, than on Twitter.
Yeah, I'm actually getting a lot of feedback at the moment on the hashtag SSRugby. Hugh Melville wants to know, Andre, we need clarity on the offside rule when it comes to the quick line-out throw-ins. So, Hugh Melville, I've posted your picture, your question here to Andre. What have you got to say?
Elma, thanks very much. It's actually very simple. If a player's in front of a kicker, we all know he's offside and liable to be penalised. However, if the ball goes out and there's an opportunity to throw the ball in quickly, that player should be penalised. But in most instances, the referee actually sees it and he plays advantage, because from those quick throw-ins, the teams get huge advantage. But yes, he is liable to be penalised.
Shami, you had a question?
Yeah, Andre, I know refs do a lot of research before the watch games. Is it possible that refs go on with preconceived ideas about certain teams because of the research they do?
No, and yes. my answer would be simple. You need to prepare. Like you as players prepare, study the referee, study the opposition. The referee does exactly the same. He's trying to determine what's most likely going to happen. But it doesn't mean he's looking out for Hani, who's dropped the scrum twice last week, that he's going to look for him and find him. He would probably, when he sees that, talk to your coach and say to your coach, I saw that Hani dropped the scrum twice last week, can you work on it please, because it's not going to work in my game. A referee who goes out there with preconceived ideas is really going to come short, because in this great, wonderful game of rugby, it's never a blueprint of the previous weekend. You'll know that as a player.
Yeah, I'm just talking about contentious areas like the scrums, because certain guys get reputations, say, listen, this guy scrums. And, for example, the Stormers game where Kitchoff got penalised 3-4 times. And, you know, you look at some of this stuff, Kirsten was actually down on his knee already. I'm just wondering, you know, can it lead to certain biases because of preconceived ideas that a guy carries into a game?
In our coaching, no. I don't want to mention names, but I think we should look at it from the other side. If a prop, and that's what you're referring to, concedes penalty last weekend, and he did it the previous weekend, and he does it this weekend, I suggest the problem is with him or his coach and not the referee.
Okay.
That would be my answer. But no preconceived ideas. They shouldn't, and if we know about that, obviously we'll be very hard on that.
Okay.
Very quickly, Andre, you guys do keep in touch with members of the public as well. If they want to find out more and read and learn a little bit more about the law, where can they go? Can they log on to a website? Perhaps?
Yeah, absolutely. All these clips and others are always explained, and we're not shy to put our hands up when we are wrong as referees, and they can go to www.sareferees.co.za or through the SA Rugby website. That's got a link to the referees web.
Yeah, just finally, it's from the our comments and the analysts here. It's great getting feedback from you. So I know that you sent this weekend about a couple of comments that were made over the weekend, just to correct us, because what we're trying to do is help and educate the public, and as you know, players don't know the laws, and coaches certainly don't know the laws.
We only want to win. We send that mail because we've got a great relationship with SuperSport. I think the commentators are doing a great job. It's not easy to do it in the heat of the moment and be right all the time. So it's a team effort by all of us. Thank you, guys.
Well, after all those lovely comments, we'll definitely allow you back in our studio. Thanks very much. It was an absolute pleasure. And we are looking forward to speaking to Andre as the season unfolds, because there are a lot of new things which some of us have not seen before, and of course teams will try and alter the way they go about their business as well, and that should make for some interesting insight as well. After the break, we take a look at the big match of the weekend, the Sharks against the Stormers.
Warning, your electricity usage is too high. Reduce your electricity usage now. Switch off all lights you don't need, the geyser, pool pump, and all non-essential appliances.
Want to know the truth? Putting your body on the line won't get you into the highlight reel, and taking one for the team will get you nothing but a pat on the back. Here, there are no weight divisions. You can't be saved by the bell. There are no crash helmets. There is no diving. When you cross that line, giving more than you have isn't rewarded. It's expected. This is the game of rugby, and this is the season.
The only Serbian man to win a Grand Slam championship. Novak Djokovic is once again the king down under.
This March on SuperSport, it's all systems go as another sensational F1 season starts down under. The 7 Series hits Hong Kong, and the Blitzbokker want to join the party. And the battle's on for early momentum in Super Rugby. In March, F1, Hong Kong Sevens, Vodacom Super Rugby, Absa Cape Epic, Grand Slam T20 Challenge, and Pakistan Tour to SA. In April, Man U's number 20 looks to win United their 20th league title. MotoGP gets off to a flying start with a night race in Qatar. And Louis got his eye on the green jacket. In April, Barclays Premier League, MotoGP, and the Masters. In May, a place at Wembley awaits the final two who'll battle for Europe's crown. Atletico are chasing Barca, but may need a miracle if they're going to catch them. And can Rafa make it 8 at Roland Garros? In May, UEFA Champions League, La Liga and Roland Garros, live on SuperSport.
Vodacom, power to you.
There's a special kind of fan. Wears his pride right on his body. He's the kind of O you see there in the front row on the jumbo TV scherm. I say, his vibe is really something. He's got super gears. Take his team right to the final. With his super vibe. Always has a home advantage. Watch him play his gears. You know I'd really like to be him. Yeah, that's how you gears. Gooi die gears, ladies. He's got super gears.
Vodacom, power to you.
Yeah, look, I'm sure the media are going to talk about what happened here in October in the final, but that's a long time ago for us. You know, it's a new team. They've got a new team. You know, it's a different competition. So really, it's not a major focus for us worrying about what happened in the past.
You know, it's always been close playing against a quality side like the Sharks, and the same things will be important. How you get out of your half, your set piece, and cut on errors and mistakes.
When you're peering for the Storm, is just a little bit different than the Cheetahs, obviously. So you know, we are just focusing on getting our detail right. You know, the scrummaging, you know, getting our line out functioning. I'm sure it's an area they're going to target us, so we've got to make sure that we're smart there. You know, the breakdown's obviously a big area with their loosies. You know, they're very aggressive, very big. So we've just got to make sure if we want continuity, we have to be really accurate in that area. You know, territory is a big thing when you play the Stormers as well.
I'm looking forward to a big improvement in terms of the way we respect the ball and in the various aspects of the game. Yes, it's going to be a big pressure. Those Sharks, I mean, Patrick Lambie, for instance, he's on fire already in the first game. He played very well. They've got a great pack. You know, but I've got confidence in the way we prepared. We just have to go out there and improve on last weekend.
Yeah, I think our preparation was a lot better this week than last week, and the performance that we put up in Pretoria just wasn't good enough, so we need to improve on that.
Every game's a new game, so we treat it like we haven't played them before, so it's Super 50 now, and we're looking forward to them coming here in our stadium and hoping to get a good game result again.
Johan de Jong, unfortunately, you know, another week or two away, and then Skalk the same, you know. We have enough depth, so my focus is on those players really in the squad and not those who must come back. They will be coming back when they're ready.
Yeah, they're a good team, but as are we. We got some great youngsters like Paul and them, and then Patrick, who has had an awesome game last weekend, and I think all of us just want to build on last weekend's performance, so we're looking forward to the game.
It seems like, you know, in this competition, the games against the South African teams are just a little bit harder, and there's a lot to play for, so this weekend will be no different, and we're expecting a massive battle on Saturday.
We're looking forward to a good crowd. You know, we haven't been here for a while, so it's just always really amped about the weekend, and we're looking forward to it.
Well, that, from a South African point of view, is probably the most anticipated match of the weekend. The Stormers against the Sharks, as they say. Guys, we certainly are looking forward to them. We're looking forward to the Sharks going against the Stormers, two very strong teams. And I suppose people will, and as Plum mentioned, it refer back to last year, but surely that's completely irrelevant now.
No, I think it's very relevant. I think the players, especially the Sharks players, will use that as a motivating factor. The Stormers, what's going to motivate them is not the result from the Queens, but their performance, the knock-ons they made, the errors they made. So it's two teams here. One we'll be speaking about last year, and the Stormers will want to come back from the disastrous performance against the Bulls.
The Sharks usually are slow starters. The Stormers, however, Nick, don't necessarily go through that little early season flutter that we know the Sharks tend to. What's gone wrong this time?
If you look at last year's fixtures that the Sharks had, they had Stormers away, Bulls away. These guys now have got the Bulls and they've got the Sharks away. So and they've got the Chiefs at home. It's a really tough start. The Stormers have got a very nice finish to this tournament. So I've got a feeling that even if they start slowly, they'll be there at the end in the top 6, I think. Listen, you know, you can't play a game where you miss 5, 6 lineouts, and I think in a couple of these throws from Deon Fourie, he misses the player completely. And again, I can't see Yankees have an afternoon or an evening where his radar is so badly off. And clearly he wasn't at his best. He missed a tackle on Van Antolufia right at the very beginning of the game. So so much went wrong. 4 penalties against Kitsoff, 6 lineouts lost, and no points at polls. I mean, surely they'll play better against the Sharks. But it's a very, very tough call to go there and win.
Yeah, well, if you look at the Sharks, Shimi, we know what they did last year, especially at the latter part of the season. You have to commend them, though, for getting through last week's test.
Yeah, it was a test for them. What happened with the Sharks, as soon as Priest put Cooney as Taze in a prop, then Beast had a field day. Then it was too easy. Vian Herbs came on. The Sharks pack is hell of a powerful. Now they've selected Dazel for the Stormers game. And that's for one thing, just to bring a good power game. This is good mauling technique here from Yanni du Plessis, just how he fights it. It's just one of the things he's really good at. So the Sharks, they'll look at their momentum, their big plays to actually generate go-forward ball, and they can feed off that. They've got dangerous runners. A guy like Francois Steyn will take a lot of pressure off Lambie because all of a sudden people are watching Steyn. It opens up gaps for Lambie on the inside and Koos Renock. So a lot of big personal battles, I think, especially in the midfield. But once again, in the pack there, the Sharks have got one hell of a scrum.
Well, as Shimi said, just one change to that starting lineup for the Sharks. John Dazel coming in, adding a little bit of bulk there. But Nick, that front row is still a Springbok front row, and I suppose that's where it all starts for them.
Well, if you remember the second game or last season, I think it was, where Kitsoff and Malherbe put that front row onto their backsides in the second last scrum of the afternoon. So it will be, they'll remember that. And I think playing at home in front of the Sharks crowd, this is going to be a really important matchup. The young Malherbe and Kitsoff against the very experienced Springbok and Yanni du Plessis and Tenda.
Yeah, it's interesting also, Ryan Kankowski, he brings an extra option at the line-out. He'll probably be used to call the line-out. He brings nice height and a contesting ability for the Sharks. So he's key. You go back to that Currie Cup final, how the Stormers managed to take Western Province managed to take a lot of ball off the Sharks line-out.
And Franco van der Merwe also can call it the line-out, and that certainly adds something to their second row. Frans Malherbe got that out. Hey? Yeah. Joe Peterson's running at the back eventually. They did need Bo, and when he came on, it certainly had an impact. At least they had an additional goal-kicking option.
Yeah, I think that's the most important aspect. I think that Tata would still be playing if he didn't have this slight groin injury. But Joe's kicking just gives a little bit of comfort to Yankees. If Yankees starts off, he knows he's got someone there backing him up. But I think Frans Malherbe, he needs to step up. He had a good season last year, but he and Kitsoff are going to have to really front up for the Stormers to produce. I think that from the pack's point of view, the Sharks have got a little bit of an edge, and I must admit, Kankowski, I agree with you, Shimi. I think that he in the lineouts made a massive difference to the Sharks lineouts last year, and I was very worried about the Stormers lineout. If you have a guy like Becker and Steenkamp is a very good lineout jumper, and you've got Vermeulen as a very good option as well, and you lose 6 of your lineouts by throwing. I think it was a lot to do with Deon Fourie's not having played in that position for a long period. He was open side flank for a long period. Even if he works hard under the pressure of a big night in front of 45,000 people, you've got to hit your man. It's incredible how you just push it a little bit as a hooker, and he did it a few times on last Saturday against the Bulls.
Well, rest assured that having played 80 minutes will certainly make the guys help them gel a little easier for the second week, and that hopefully will mean that we see an exciting match and quite a tussle. Well, Matt Hodgson is part of the Force team that is going to be playing the Bulls this weekend. They've got a 2-match tour of South Africa, having lost to the Kings, of course, last weekend. They take on the Bulls this weekend, and a tough match for them. Let's see what Hodgson has to say. At least he managed to get off the aeroplane all right.
The Western Force touched down at Tambo International Airport on Thursday, ahead of their third assignment in the 2013 Vodacom Super Rugby competition. The men from Australia lost their first two matches, a local derby against the Melbourne Rebels, while they were also beaten by the Southern Kings in Port Elizabeth last week.
Yeah, definitely. Obviously, two results we're not pretty happy with, but there's been sections of games that we've played well. We just need to make that 80-minute performance now. So we sort of fell into the trap of playing like a style like them, and also not taking our chances. After reviewing the game, we saw many opportunities where we could have scored or put points on the board, and if we'd taken those opportunities, the outcome would have been different.
The Force face another mammoth task this weekend as they have to deal with South Africa's most successful Super Rugby outfit, the Vodacom Bulls, who have won this competition on 3 occasions.
No, Bulls are obviously a tough team, especially at home, so it's a big challenge for us. Yeah, we've watched a few tapes of them, not only last week, but last few years. They've played a similar style of rugby all the way through, so we've got a lot of background on them. Well, it's sort of a game plan that you've got to show up physically. They're a side that will become physical, and you've got to play for 80 minutes, and we've got to be on our game. And if we play to the way we've trained this week, and also we know we can play to a high level, we will get a good outcome.
Counting in the visitors' favour is the fact that they have beaten the Bulls on 3 occasions in this competition, most famously in 2007 in the Jacaranda City.
Yeah, we've sort of talked about that a little bit, and one of 3 that have played in that game, so we've sort of spoken about it, that it is possible, and sort of we're going to this game full of confidence. Well, it's a big game for us this. We can change it all in this game now, and after hopefully a good performance, we can go back home and work on things that we didn't quite achieve while over here, because we've got a week off to recover and go into a local derby in 2 weeks' time.
Well, they certainly have it all to do, the Western Force, and they'll be disappointed after that first week's loss to the new boys in the competition. But, Shimi, if you look at them, they are in one of those positions. They're one of those teams that just keeps losing players.
Well, it's equivalent of the cheaters here. Nathan Sharp's left, retired David Pocock left, Matt Gitto, Drew Mitchell, Cameron Shepherd, James O'Connor. So they're just churning out players the whole time. They've got a new coach, now, and they're always rebuilding, and they're always going to struggle to get momentum.
And it's also very tough in Western Australia to keep a rugby team going, because it's not really rugby union territory, and I suppose it's easy for the players to want to play elsewhere. For the Bulls, however, they've got Sampi Street in their starting lineup this weekend. We'll take a look at the team sheet shortly, but Nick, led very ably by Pierre Spies this last weekend.
Yeah, I think Pierre had a difficult season last season. I think he'd had 3 years of playing virtually non-stop, and he had a lot of injuries, and I think the break's done him a tremendous amount of good, because from the kickoffs, the Stormers kickoffs, he was absolutely outstanding. He took all the kickoffs wonderfully well. He made 16 tackles in this game. He threw his body on the line. He was really leading from the front physically, and that's what we were used to, that type of Pierre Spies. I think when he was playing at the end, just before his injury, I think he'd lost the hunger and the appetite to play. It was wonderful to see him back to top form. And listen, let's be honest. This Bulls side got everything right in this game against the Stormers. They played tactically a very good game. Turned them around, made the Stormers play out of their 22 all day. Very good kicking performance by Morné Steyn, another guy who's got his name up in lights again, having had a bit of a difficult end to last season. So well done to the Bulls, and I can see them absolutely hammering the Force this weekend.
Got it right. Is it right, Shimi, to move that Lionel Apu from the wing into inside centre? A lot of people were calling for that.
The right decision. He probably made the most line breaks last year during Currie Cup. And, you look at the depth of the Bulls. A guy like Arnie Botha coming in, the impact, the physical impact between him and Jacques Botha, Jacques Potgieter, the ball carries that they're going to give. And it frees up a guy like Pierre Spies once you've got 2 big loose forwards like that. I mean, that must be the heaviest loose forward combination we're going to see this weekend.
I think I'd just like to reiterate what you said about Lionel Apu. He really impresses me. He's very, very strong on his feet. He's got a lovely step, and he breaks tackles. He really breaks a lot of tackles. He's good defensively. It's fantastic to see him at outside centre, and I think he's going to love playing. His first game in his proper position against a team like the Force. I can see the Bulls opening up a little bit more than they did against the Stormers, where they needed the win. I think this time, if they can get domination with the forwards, they're going to let that backline run.
Well, after the break, Kings for a day, our rugby rant as well, so don't miss any of it with a little bit more analysis.
lovers this March on DSTV. Expect a colossal clash as South Africa and Pakistan fight it out for vital ICC ranked points in a 5-match ODI series. Motorsport doesn't get bigger than this. The immense rivalry of Formula One hits the tarmac in Australia and Malaysia. And the larger-than-life athletes in the NBA are out to impress, and ESPN brings you all the slam dunk action. So much bigger and better. DSTV.
It's now easier than ever to keep up to date with the latest sporting action, thanks to DSTV On Demand. This incredible service is available to all premium PVR subscribers and gives you access to the best sporting highlights you may have missed. What's more, it's right at your fingertips, meaning you can watch when it suits you. Simply push the red button on your PVR remote to open your playlist. Then hit the right button twice, followed by the yellow button to display sport. Then make your selection and press OK to enjoy. With DSTV On Demand and Supersport, you'll never miss another game-changing moment.
Take your viewing experience to the next level with 4 HD channels dedicated to your world of champions.
Well, an absolute surprise and a wonderful result for the Southern Kings this past weekend, winning their maiden match in Super Rugby and top of the South African Conference. And hey, guess what? They might retain that because, of course, they're on a bye this weekend. So 4 points in the bag for them. And if no one else picks up bonus points, we could see the Kings lead the SA Conference 2 weeks in a row. But wonderful to see the tries, guys, and the way they went about their business. We didn't expect too much from them, but they'll want to maintain this momentum, Nick.
Oh, he takes this try well, doesn't he? I mean, it's just a fantastic 18 at school last year, just been given an opportunity. This is exactly why the Kings came in. Even if it's just for this guy, you know, it's fantastic to see him out there producing the goods. I was expecting to see a couple of flick-flacks like Brayton used to do after a wonderful start. And what a great win for a side that was really castigated before they started the campaign.
We know it's going to get tougher for them, Shami. There's absolutely no doubt. They're going to get on the road. They're going to take on the Crusaders away from home, for instance. But they've already got the feeling of a win, having claimed a win in Super Rugby. How important is that?
It's very important. A team like the Kings, for their first season, they'll be playing for respect. And you've always got to be dangerous of a team with a purpose. You go back to the Crusaders 2 years ago with the earthquake. You know, they played for more than actually trying to win the championship. They're playing for the community. And a team like the Kings is playing for the region out there. For a lot of players that are going to come through the ranks, guys at Dale, Queens, Selborne, some great rugby schools. So it's important for the Kings just to do well, to get that respect in the competition or in world rugby. So those players stay in those regions. And for the next generations, just to keep churning out players the whole time. Sergio Peterson, well, if he's the first one, then, you know, it's going to be an exciting future for rugby in that region.
How tough is it going to be for the Kings to hold on to players like Sergio Peterson?
Look, I don't think it will be that tough. For me, there's a rugby culture there. There's a good university that's doing well in the Varsity Cup. They've got great crowds. Some of these crowds are bigger than what we've seen at the Lions or the Cheetahs. So for anything else, for a player, P is a nice place to play rugby. So for some of these guys, I think they'll actually stay in that region.
Well, he's not the only one, and we hope that the academy produces one or two more Sergio Petersons. It's what we're looking for, and I suppose it's a step in the right direction. So well done to the Kings and well done to the academy. Let's hope to see even more. Well, on to a rugby rant, which deals with exactly that, the Kings, and praise for the Kings. And somebody was also asking questions about the skill level of South African teams. Well, this is today's rant from one of our viewers, and I'll read it out to you. Our coaches need to take a good look at the Highlanders and Chiefs game. That is how the game should be played. You can't compare the skill levels. Our rugby is ancient and boring, said Mark. I was so frustrated watching the Stormers try and bash over defenders with upright body positions, effectively killing their own ball. Our backs just can't seem to run and pause at full pace. I'm starting to lose interest in my team winning and would actually prefer to be entertained. Well done, the Kings, he says, and the PE crowd. Amazing. Jacques Engelbrecht proved what a decent leg drive and good body position can do for a team's momentum. And granted, the Force are weaker this year, but that was enjoyable to watch. And I suppose that's going to be the question. Well, it's something that has been mentioned in the past, guys. Entertainment versus results. We love results in South Africa, but how important, Shimmy, is the entertainment aspect for fans just going out to the venues and watching tries galore?
The Kings game was very entertaining, but it was also because of good defense from the Kings. You know, it's also subject to what you see entertaining is. What you want to see is a free-flowing game with good continuity. You want to see a competitive game. For a defense coach, if you watch the Chiefs game, then defensively, there was no defense. So if you want to see 45-50 as a game and you think it's entertaining, you know, there's different aspects you look at.
Nick, there's probably no chance that the purist will sit back and say, let's just have a free-for-all and run everything.
No, but to be honest, I think we must admit that New Zealanders from a very young age are taught far better skills than South Africans. It's just a given. You see these youngsters at 7-a-side. You see the under-19 teams that come out here, the under-21s. You see all the Super Rugby franchises. The ability of their forwards to pass, to run straight, to fix a man, to step, to read the opposition defence, and to drift on the pass, then straighten. I mean, someone like Smith from the Hurricanes, who's just a master of creating space for those on the outside. You saw some bewildering passes and line breaks in those games, in the first two games on Friday, the Blues and the Chiefs game. And it was very, very exciting. I just want to say, from a television, purely from a viewer's point of view, I love seeing that. I love seeing the skills. I believe that we have the ability to get there. We have the ability to be as skillful. It's just there's an innate conservatism in South African rugby that wants coaches error rate. We spend our time saying, how many errors have we made in the game? How many mistakes? If a player, we won't pick him because he's made too many mistakes. I think in New Zealand, they probably say, how many times did he create a try-scoring opportunity? And this slight change in emphasis in terms of the attack as opposed to the defence defines us as a rugby nation. We are very, very defence-orientated, especially at this moment. When you think of the Stormers and the way they got to success last year, the way the Bulls played when they won the Super Rugby campaign, it was very much based on a kicking game, a very strong pack of forwards, and strangling the opposition. Whereas, the All Blacks have never moved away from their belief that rugby is a beautiful game that should be played between 15 players and everyone should have a crack at touching the ball and scoring a try.
Well, Mark, thanks very much for your rant, and you've heard it from the experts. Well, we've got a couple of new shows on the block. Take a look at this.
Hi, this is Kennedy Timber. Get to your local club and support them in the Community Cup. It's a wonderful initiative by SA Rugby. Let's support our team, guys. Let's support them.
There you go. Working class heroes, of course, all about club rugby. That's going to be great to see. And looking forward to seeing what the guys have to say about the way they've gone about their business as well. And we'll also hear something in Xhosa, but stay tuned for that. There'll be a little bit more detail as we continue. Al, just to wrap up with you and what the viewers have to say.
So many tweets coming through. First up, let's just, before we get there, take a look at how you can participate in the rugby over the weekend. Even if you're not playing, play the Fantasy League and score prediction games at supersport.com. You can win one of 20 of those Samsung tablets right there on the screen. We told you to use the hashtag SSRugby, and, well, why did you use that hashtag? It feels a little abused at the moment, it tells me. But I did get some
insanely funny and sometimes far out comments. Some of the best ones, Nkululeko said, only Sharks' weak point is the line-out and maybe defence, going with what I saw against the Cheetahs, but they're still my favourites. And then there was one from BJ Anderson 13 who says Cheetahs play some of the most attractive running rugby in Super Rugby. When the pressure is on, they are unstoppable. Van Sales said too many new combinations with the players on loan will ensure that the Stormers start very slow this season. But, of course, the season is far from won in February, not even in March. Ne? And then Extian says, love the 5-second rule now. It's true rugby. No more boring delays at the back of the ruck. So let's take a look at that trivia clip that we played you earlier. And we asked you if you know who this player is. I love that one of our Twitter followers called it a prop goal instead of a drop goal. He did afterwards say that it wasn't his intention to actually score points. He was just trying to gain some territory. And a random fact, and I don't know how believable this is on Wikipedia, apparently he was quite the athlete in his school days. He ran the 100 meters in 10.99 seconds at one point. Impressive for a prop. Let's have a look at the poll question for the week ahead. Crusaders are back. Can they make it 8 titles in 2013? Haven't seen them play yet, but just on the face value, what do you think? What can we expect from them? And especially from what you've seen from the other teams, how do you expect them to measure up? Of course, you can get in touch on our Boots and All Facebook page. That's the golden portal for you during the week to interact with us as well as other viewers, or tweet us using the hashtag SSRugby. If you have a rugby rant, then mail us, boots@supersport.co.za.
Well, what a wonderful drop goal by Matt Dunning. I think after that they called him Matt Duh. I think that's pretty much where it ended. Well, thanks very much for joining us this week. And just a quick reminder, of course, of what you can expect this weekend. The Blues take on the Satyrs, Waratahs at home to the Rebels, and Reds versus the Hurricanes. And that will be on Friday. And on Saturday morning, Chiefs, the defending champions, take on the Cheetahs, who are on the road. The Bulls are at home to the Western Force. And the big one, the South African Derby, Sharks against the Stormers to wrap up the weekend's action. Thanks for joining us once again, to our guests as well, and to Andre Watson. Looking forward to having him back in studio in the future. Enjoy the weekend's rugby, and see you again next week.
Okay, let's pick up the books.
Thank you very much.
Thanks very much.
Thank you.
Boots and All on Supersport. Proudly sponsored by Vodacom.
The Samsung Galaxy S3. It understands you. Sees your best side. Shares what's in your heart. Wait till you're asleep. Samsung Galaxy S3. Designed for humans.
find what you need in that overstuffed, outdated wallet? Stop damaging your credit cards or using money clips that aren't secure, and get rid of those bulky old wallets that barely even fit. Now there's Illuma Wallet, the lightweight aluminum wallet that's indestructible. You'll be amazed at how much it holds. Credit cards, debit cards, club cards, cash, and more. The easy touch latch allows for quick access, and its accordion design makes getting your cards out easy. Illuma Wallet is the perfect wallet for men and for women, and its compact size fits into any pocket or purse.
It's one touch, it pops open, and there before you are all your credit cards, your driver's license, your cash.
It's so practical. It keeps all my cards organized. Everything is very easy to get to.
The aluminum alloy case protects against spills, drops. Even a heavy truck is no match for Illuma Wallet.
Call 430-6000 and get it right now for this amazing price. For exclusive web offers, go to hallmark.co.za. Also available at these stores and Hallmark stores nationwide.
Warning, your electricity usage is too high. Reduce your electricity usage now. Switch off all lights you don't need, the geyser, pool pump, and all non-essential appliances.
Control the noise when Man United takes on Real Madrid on your World of Champions.
Back your boykins! Alle bombardieren! Boykins! Og så har du virkelig sin! Boykins! Mit dem gehören! Boykins! Back your boykins! Was die boykins! Alle bombardieren! Boykins! Og så har du virkelig sin!
Hello and welcome to Rugby That Rocks, your Varsity Cup magazine show. We get to know the players a little better and we take a closer look at the Keep the Aggro on the Field campaign. But first up, Varsity Shield. This week, TUT beat UWC in Pretoria.
Still without a win this season, the Tshwane University of Technology headed into their next Shield challenge with confidence at an all-time low. Monday night turned into a special one for the men from the capital, who finally slammed on the brakes as they ended a string of disappointing results. The big men worked their way to the UWC line, while it was left to Mornaihu to put the finishing touches on what was the Vikings' 7th try this season. Substitute Nico Smuts released Fani Raseroka in the second half that gave the galleries an opportunity to award points for the finish that followed. The best passage of the match finished in the TUT in-goal area. Kenwanwina is the man to watch. He drew 2 defenders. The emerging ball from the ruck gave Daniel Brock an opportunity to explore his options. The pass went to nobody in particular, but it did give TUT the next opportunity. Gareth Breedenan intercepted, Smuts provided the acceleration before the ball was turned over once again. Meteteleli Fazani's brilliant backhand found Donovan Williams. Frederick Miller provided the support, while Wiener finished one of the tries of the season and in the history of the competition. But it was not enough, as TUT held on for their first win this year.
First victory of the season there for TUT, and another unlikely victory this week. UKZN beat the University of Fort Hare in Alice.
The University of KwaZulu-Natal arrived in Alice on the back of consecutive defeats, while they were aiming to achieve a rare double over the University of Fort Hare. Lundi Ralarala, who has already enjoyed a great season, hit the line at speed. Oliver Zono followed his outside centre into the UKZN 22 before the Hallelujah pass bounced kindly for Kanyisa Komani, who did the rest. With the crowd in full voice and firmly behind their team, the visitors struck. Jean-Ray Small cleared at the base of the ruck before Sizwe Kubeka added his powerful frame to proceedings. The second half was as entertaining. Hendrik Latergan took 2 defenders out of the equation, while the last pass found Small, who scored another brilliant team try. Fort Hare caught UKZN on the back foot as a quick tap was easily converted into something more promising as Nkosikone Nufuma was the last to rise with ball in hand. Nufuma added his second after the forwards guided him into the red zone, but UKZN had the last laugh as they left Alice with a 2018 win that ended their two-match winless run, while they also completed the double over the Blues.
Varsity Shield table after 5 rounds sees CUT at the top with 17 points, 5 clear of UKZN, the University of Fort Hare and Western Cape's level on 11 all. On Rugby That Rocks, we also get to know your favourite rugby stars a little better. Here's a closer look at UWC's loose head prop, Calvin de Bruyn.
Hi there, I'm Calvin de Bruyn. I play loose head prop. Welcome to the University of the Western Cape. Follow me, I'll show you around. Welcome to the home of FNB UWC Rugby, better known as the House of Pain. This is one of the fields that was used for the Under-20 World Cup, and like any rugby player, this is our stadium, and we love it when it's packed. Okay, this is the biokinetics clinic. This is where we train 3 to 4 times a week. And we have many qualified physios and biokinetics people here. They rub us out, and this is all we rugby players need. It's just a gym. This is our newly built aquatic center, and this is mostly used for, as you can see, students chilling out, and mostly water polo, and also a very good way for the rugby players to cool down and to recover after the tough varsity games. UWC is not all about rugby, but we also focus on our academics. This is one of the buildings that's recently been expanded on UWC for the high demand of students. Therefore, UWC started building more and more buildings to accommodate more students. This is one of the buildings that I attend classes where I do maths and accounting. For me as a student personally, I enjoy being a student at UWC because we have so many different ethnic groups and stuff. Just being a part of the experience of UWC, interacting with all these people on a daily basis, I think while we're in our class groups and stuff, I just think it prepares you mentally and also what you're going to work with one day in your workplace. The University of Western Cape, they give you full initiative in taking part in all types of sports and stuff. And academics, they have a big focus on the academic side. So they would like you to fulfill your academics and as well enjoy sports at the same time. I think the Varsity Shield competition that was introduced here at UWC was quite a good thing because it attracted a lot of students to come to the varsity and things. And I must say, since the Varsity Shield started, more and more students are coming to join UWC, and I mean the pool of players amongst UWC players and the competition is just getting greater and greater every year. I think now that Coach Peter de Villiers is in charge of the coaching staff, director of rugby and things, all the guys are like motivated and stuff, because I'm sure as every young rugby player watches to want to be a Springbok one day, and just to be associated with a former Springbok coach, I just think Peter de Villiers just brings like a big energy towards our playing and things, and the boys are very excited for game days. At the moment, I'm studying BCom in the economics faculty, and I'm a third-year student. When I got here by the beginning, it was all about rugby, the enjoyment of rugby. But soon after that, I broke my ankle, and I soon realized, what am I going to fall back after? Because, yeah, it's a big setback. And then I realized, but studies comes first now. So, yeah, my studies is taking place, and I have one more year to go for my studies. And, yeah, I would like to see myself maybe in the next 2 to 3 years, owning my own company or something, and yeah, coining it.
On this Monday, the Steinhoff Cobras play UJ Steinhoff Bastion at the UCT rugby fields, and if you've never heard of the Steinhoff Cobras, take a closer look at this.
years ago at school, I started playing for the internal league side, the Cobras, and that year we ended up winning our internal league. So we qualified for the Varsity Cup, and last year we played in it, and yeah, we got into the semi-final, and it was a pretty good experience. It's a very competitive league. Every game we play on Wednesday nights. Come down here, a lot of fun as well. Come have fines afterwards. Very good team spirits. Our team, we like to meet every week. We train on Sundays, we play touch rugby, and then games on Wednesday. Had a tough final last year in our internal league final. Ended up winning by 2 points. Our vice captain then and number 10 hit a penalty to win the game. So yeah, it's always very competitive, and yeah, we ended up winning, which is great.
With Varsity Cup, we have the difficulty of having a very small pool of university players. So it's always difficult putting together a Corsairs team because, generally speaking, we get the third pick. But it's just a bunch of guys that are keen to come out and play rugby. It's an incredible opportunity to tour around the country and play in front of your university and your first team. So yeah, it's just a bunch of guys that want to come down here and have a good time throwing the ball around. Losing a lot of players last year because they're not students anymore. We still do have that experience here. I think it's about 8 or 9 players in the squad that have played Varsity Cup. But the new guys have slotted in well. We've played one friendly game so far. All the guys stuck around afterwards for a beer and a chat, and there's just a great vibe in the squad at the moment.
Obviously it's tough to manage studying and playing, especially in the Corsairs Varsity Cup, because it is very demanding. But we try to arrange our schedules so guys can study as much as they can and then also come out and play. We train in the late afternoons, and matches are usually in the night. For Varsity Cup, we do get excused if we have tests and stuff like that, but guys seem to manage it pretty well.
That's why the Cobras are so nice. It's not too serious, only a few practices a week, and if you can't come because of work, no one's going to be on your case, and you try and make it if you can, but we always put studies first, and rugby is just a lot of fun.
I think the thing is putting your time in after practices and before practices. We are very lenient if guys have tests or they have valid reasons why they can't make practices. We're not going to give them too much grief about it. But it does also mean that guys need to put in effort other times during the week. We don't want to get a guy phoning us on a Wednesday afternoon saying he can't make practice because he's got something due for the next day when he's had 2 weeks to do it. So it's just up to the guys as individuals. They're all keen to be here, so we expect them to work there in their schedule.
I'd have to say it's probably Corsairs from Bloemfontein. We met them in the semi-final last year. Very strong side. They take it very seriously. Very professional setup that they have, and we'll meet them in the second game in Bloemfontein. So hopefully we can get off to a good start here at Varsity first, and then head over there and hopefully beat them down there.
Well, I think definitely Bloemfontein's going to be a big challenge. We're better prepared this time. We've got a bigger squad. Last year we were really hurt by injuries, and we let the gas slip at the start of the second half. So I think this year we've got a serious chance at winning this competition. I know a lot of people think that it's all about the Ikeys, but this is where it starts. There's guys here that played Young Guns Varsity Cup last year, didn't quite make it into footy's team, but it's good. They're still playing competitive rugby. We're going to do everything that we can to represent our university and do them proud. So we'd really appreciate the support.
If you missed out on what the Ikeys or any of the other Varsity Cup teams got up to in round 4, stay tuned for the roundup after the break.
The Samsung Galaxy S3. It understands you. Sees your best side. Shares what's in your heart. Waits till you're asleep. Samsung Galaxy S3. Designed for humans.
Ready to see this?
It's game on.
Blood, sweat and tears. You're on that highway to Trouble Town. It's not how you start this competition. It's how you finish.
Every Monday to Thursday at 6, make MasterChef Australia a part of your life. Only on Mnet.
UEFA Champions League. On your world of champions.
Welcome back to Rugby That Rocks. NNMU have had a great run of form so far in the 2013 season, and the girls cheering them on next to the field, the NNMU cheerleaders have done just as good a job.
UCT, but apparently there's a lot of...
It's great, it's real great. Yeah, everybody's excited, it's cheering, it's playing the ball, so it's a lot of fun.
A lot of support and cheering and partying.
Definitely partying. I can't forget that. No, it's great. The reses at the hospitals and that stuff, they like really go for it. They cheer, they come out with all spirit, everything.
Yeah, they dress up,
support us as much as they can. It's really amazing. It's also not easy to actually go up there and dance in front of a crowd, be on TV, support the boys, be like, some people have stage fright. For us, it's got to get there, do it, and it's not the most easiest job, but it's really rewarding. Well, it's called well planning. You've got to really plan well. And time management. So varsity, I'm currently studying sports management, so I only do varsity in the mornings, and then I've got my time in the afternoon to do work, and then basically practicing in the evenings.
Yeah, we practice the routine when we wake up, when we go to sleep, every day.
As much as we can, all the time. We have to look out for our boys. Well, let's get in the crowd and join themselves by giving them something to look at.
And being able to support the rugby boys and cheering for them.
It's great fun. You have to be a cheerleader.
And from Port Elizabeth to Pretoria, where defending champions Tuks went down in a hard-fought match against Marties.
And we're at the Tuks Rugby Stadium for Rugby That Rocked. It's the Varsity Cup Monday night, and it's Tuks against Marties. Where would you want to be but right here, right now? Here's another opportunity, and this time the try is definitely scored, and it is Juan Skummen. It's like Learman in possession there. Alexander has a go! Oh, he was very close. And that's a try!
Beautiful, well done from the Marties.
Jacobs to Skummen. This is Williams. Paul Smith floating one out. They've got the extra man, Rian Brits. I think he's been held up. There's a section of the crowd that are sure he's scored, and it looks as if Brits thinks he's scored. Straight through. What a simple score that is from Mark Hodgkiss, and it's under the post. We might be going to the break all square.
Get back. Ball. Knock it. Let's hit them all 19 white. Come on, man.
Interesting that. You'll think that it'll be a penalty try because that ball was going over the try.
Oh, he likes it. And so do the touchdowns.
Oh, yes, the Rondebosch boys, the cool head there. 18 points to 16. They'll be very happy with that turnaround.
It was an all-Johannesburg clash on Monday afternoon at Wits, but UJ ran in a record 9 tries.
Well, it is a power scrum by UJ. Van der Walt easily able to get it away. Van Zyl, Moorman, men on the outside, a romp in for JJ to clock the full-back.
Touch. Set.
You may well find that Liebenberg will go with it. No, he doesn't. Van der Walt, Van Zyl, and then De Kork away for Esterhuizen. Gets rid of his marker, and another easy try for UJ. Well, they've got too many numbers there, and a bursting try by Kamanga. Good dummy. Oh, well worked for Greef to get a try. Super play by Wits. Van der Walt, Van Zyl, De Kock. Oh, De Kock is clean through. So all of Witz's good work in terms of getting a try has been undone. Oh, now Van der Walt clean through. Ball away to his skipper, Justin Wheeler. In the band there, LaRue could get over here. I think he has. Mavundla battling. The try is given by the referee. Well, it's a tight head and well done by Torrance. Paper away for Cliff. Could get out. He should power over here. Wheeler got it away to Moorman. Good pass to Steenkamp. Well, look at this. JJ de Kock gets try number 4. Away from Moorman, and then a flying Burta. Burta could accelerate in here. Beautiful try. UJ 63-24.
The NNMU Madibas are on fire in 2013 and they scored another morale-boosting win on Monday night over FNB Shimlas.
Rugby fever swept through the Eastern Cape after the Southern Kings' triumphant start to their Super Rugby campaign last weekend. On Monday, the Nelson Mandela Metropolitan University followed suit as they made it a weekend to remember in the friendly city. The Madibas drew first blood against the visiting Shimlas from Bloemfontein after Roy Godfrey went over in the corner. Shimlas replied with a try of their own. The long ball from Reinhard Arabier beat the defence that left a huge hole for Devandre Strydom to run into, the left wing finishing in style. Strydom's partner Maputo Dolo initiated another attack, while Pieter Steyn de Wet created the space for Strydom to score his second of the night that gave Shimlas a 2-point cushion.
And we will visit the party that they will call shortly with some more giveaways.
But the boot of Justin van Staden saved the day for the hosts as he slotted a conversion and 3 penalties that saw NMMU to their second win of the season, 14-10, the final score.
'11 champions UCT are still winless after 4 rounds despite a frustratingly close game against Pucker on Monday.
The Northwest University Picker welcomed the University of Cape Town to Potchefstroom, where the Ikeys were looking for their first win of the season. The students arrived in their numbers and were anticipating another fruitful day for their beloved team. The pink shorts was very visible in the opening exchanges, Jaco Grobler following on from his performance against Wits last week. And while on the subject of pink, the change of ball after the strategy break again produced a 5-pointer, but it was the striped jerseys doing the celebrating after Dylan Lates had escaped his markers. More defensive questions needed to be answered as the Ikeys allowed JC Oberholzer to barge over from close quarters. That trend continued in the second half as substitute Steve Sitole found a helping hand from his teammates that kept fans on the edge of their seat. Picker needed a reply and it came as no surprise to find all of the action amongst the heavyweights once again. Marius Fourie doing some damage with the pink ball. It was left to fly Gerard Notier to add the extras, and that he did, as Picker edged their rivals from the Western Cape in what was a nail-biting affair.
The Varsity Cup log after 4 rounds of play sees Marties unbeaten at the top with 18 points, UJ in a threatening position with 15, Ikeys and Wits trailing far behind, both without a win after 4 matches. If you'd like to get your hands on one of those limited edition pink Varsity Cup rugby balls, then bid on varsitycup.co.za. The highest bidders' names will be announced during the second strategy break of the second match every Monday night. All the funds raised this way goes to the Keep the Agra on the Field campaign, and the University of Witwatersrand supports the Usindiso Ministries in Johannesburg.
we've identified Usindisu Ministries as our preferred shelter that we will support. And it goes beyond just Varsity Cup. We've adopted it as a community project for Wits sport in general. The university, besides the contribution that Varsity Cup is making, is also putting a lot of money into it to make sure that we can upgrade the facilities and make the facility more user-friendly, if I can put it that way, for the ladies here.
The shelter is here downtown Johannesburg at 80 Albert Street, which is actually a heritage site. It was the old post office building, where in the days of apartheid, people had to come and get their domposts here. However, things have changed completely now, and this place is to uplift people, mainly women and children. We're a shelter for abused and homeless women and children. And we will be turning 10 years old this year, on the 1st of July.
Today we're here at home for abused women and their children. We just aim to help them out around, do things that they necessarily can't get done. So our aim for today is to fix up their TV room. We're going to paint the entire TV room, and then the whole passageway that runs next to all the rooms and everything like that. Our aim is to paint all of that. I think that's such a great cause as well. You know, there's so many times that women get abused and things like that, and they go completely unnoticed, and they get places like this actually take those ladies in. And I think it's awesome for them that they have a place, they have a shelter to come to when they're in a situation, a bad situation like that.
I think it's a very good initiative. Based on, like, we were walking in the corridor now, and we said to the guys, we said, it's really unfair that people have to live like this. I mean, the conditions and the things, I mean, it's not like they chose to wake up one day and to just be abused. So it's really sad, but at the same time, we're just happy that we can help out.
We're very excited about this. This is something new for us too, and so it's wonderful to have young people come and be involved and to see, you know, things that our ladies and children have gone through. Maybe some of them have not accessed this part of society before. And we were also very excited to be having been chosen by Wits and to be part of the varsity rugby for Wits, Wits rugby team. It's new and it's exciting for us.
Men who abuse women shouldn't be part of the society, and there should be consequences with it. Centres like these are really beneficial for young women and children to come through to help. And I think it's important that Varsity Cup sides like Wits, UJ, etc. Promote these kind of things to keep the aggro on the field and to reduce the amount of women who are getting abused.
We do survive on donations, and so I would like to appeal to people out there to come and be involved with us. There's many areas that people can be involved. We also are needing funding to be able to run and to provide even donations in the form of food, clothing, by giving their own time, finances, donations, etc. So thank you very much.
Let's take a look at the action you can look forward to in the next week. Head on down to the University of KZN when they play the Tshwane University of Technology at 7 on Monday night, and the University of the Western Cape hosts the Central University of Technology in Bloem. In Varsity Cup action, the Green Mile will play host to Marties at 4:30. NNMU host UJ in Port Elizabeth. Shimlas will be hoping to get back to their winning ways on Monday night at 6:45 in Bloemfontein. They take on Pucker. And in Pretoria, Tuks play Wits at 7 p.m. at the Tuks Rugby Stadium. And that's it for this week's edition of Rugby That Rocks. Go to the Varsity Cup Facebook page and go tag yourself and your friends there. All the pictures from the past week's action is up. varsitycup.co.za has all the info you might need, and we'll see you same time, same place next week. Cheers.
Come on, let's go see what's got the green light to Dis-Chem right now. Introducing USN's most advanced fat loss activator, FedroCut Lipo XT, helping thousands of people achieve real weight control results. Cut down on centimeters and weight to look your best with the help of FedroCut Lipo XT. For your extreme body makeover, get USN FedroCut Lipo XT, used by people who are serious about their weight.
Remember, when you see the green light, it's a good time to go to Dis-Chem, pharmacists who care.
Tired of seating situations that leave you sore? Downtime